But yeah, just
You
just
know,
to hone in on these folk who set the children up for failure, who have these babies, who go into relationships with people who have histories, either knowing that there's a history that they can't deal with, or refusing to be the partner that they said they wanted to be. I got some strong, well, I don't know how strong they are, but bottom line, you know what? If you're a female, you have to learn how to do yourself, or go get you whatever they call them things, them battery operated toys, and leave that daggone
the
man
Bob,
alone.
the one by Raheem Devon, Bob, battery operated
Bob.
boyfriend.
Okay, yeah, that. Go get you one of them. Leave that man alone until either you're strong enough in your stuff, or you're able to deal with his stuff. If you're not there
Correct.
both ways, get your Bob. Guys, same thing. You go on down there to whatever the street is. Every city has a street where you can go get yourself serviced. So if that's what you have to do, go get yourself serviced. Or y'all do it in the shower all the time anyway. Service yourself. Or in some cases, for those of us who are a little bit more spiritually in tune and controlling our flesh,
Yeah.
remain celibate. Remain
Yeah.
celibate. Take sex, take the whole physical stuff out of the equation totally, because it really shouldn't have that higher priority anyway. Especially if you got stuff you
Right.
got to deal with, it shouldn't have that higher priority.
And you know what, BL? My famous saying is, I'm the real pimp, which is PIMP. Penis is not my priority. I'm like, I have 5
Mm.
children. I know exactly what
What a
sex is
penis
about.
looks like. Mm-hmm.
I said, it's no big deal. I need to, when I get into the next relationship, which I want to be married again, I'm still young enough to be married again, but I want to go in whole. I don't want to go in broken. My marriage to my ex-husband, we were both two broken people.
Mm.
But the difference in me is I saw a therapist to become healed. He refused to go. He didn't want to go. He didn't feel like he had problems. But then you tell me you come from an abusive father. You know, he didn't let your mother work. It was 10 children, you know, and your father rather y'all go without or just eat oatmeal and not half because he didn't want your mother to be part of the breadwinner. I didn't come from that type of stuff. So we all come in with baggage. Now, some come
Right.
in with more baggage than others, but we all come in with baggage. But when you decide to be in a relationship, you got to put them bags down. You got to open them. You got to unpack that shit. You got to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can't
And
sweep
you
it
got
under
to
the
be
rug.
transparent. You got to be transparent because we all have issues. I had to
Mm.
tell a girlfriend that. She said to me, BL, now tell me if I'm crazy because, you know, I can be a little bit much sometimes.
Right. We
Me and
all
her was
can.
having a conversation. Me and her was having a conversation. She's been a friend of mine for over 30 years. She says to me, my family's not dysfunctional. I said, well, what do you mean by that?
Mm.
I said, well, you mean to tell me that your father beat the hell out your mom when you was a kid? Your father being an alcoholic and a crack abuser, that's not dysfunctional?
Mm.
We all come from dysfunctional. I said, you just need help on dealing with your issues because you're in denial. I said, and think about it. Why do every man that you get is an abuser? Maybe not physically.
Mm.
You've had some physically, but they mentally abuse you. I said, because these are issues you haven't addressed. I said, and sometimes the very person or the very thing we hate, that's the very person we'll go out here and get.
Mm-hmm. Because
We'll
that's
go
what's
get somebody
comfortable
just
to
like our
us.
daddy.
That is what's
Yes.
comfortable to us.
I said, and even when you deal with a man, if he is not facing his issues, or a woman likewise, you can give them everything in the world, BL, as a woman, but they will turn back, like it says in the Bible. A dog will turn back to that vomit
Turn back to that
because
vomit. You right? Mm.
because they're used to what's comfortable.
Girl, get
So
out
they
my
feel like if they
household.
ain't getting,
Get out my
if they're
household.
not if they're not getting beat, then they feel like they're not being loved. And I heard Miss Shirley one time on her documentary, she was saying that when Dr. Dre was beating her, that's the only way she felt love is to be hit. And I was
Wow.
like, what the hell? But
Wow.
that's what she knew.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see your mother being abused, but she stays, then it becomes a cycle.
Exactly.
And like you say, we have to break those cycles.
Oh, and here's the thing. Speaking of cycles. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
First, we have to say, BL, there's a problem. There's something wrong.
You have to acknowledge
it. I need help.
And speaking of cycles, I was going to say, and we just threw another monkey wrench in there, but and this is this girl's story. She already had one child when she got with this guy that she's with now, and so they have a second child together. So you had your issues. You couldn't deal with her issues that you knew about, or I won't say can't deal with them. You choose not to deal with them. You choose to dismiss them and belittle her, undervalue her, pretty much mistreat her. And now you brought another child in. And do you not realize that everything you do to her, you're also doing to those kids? Everything those kids see positions them to grow up and do the same, or to allow themselves to have the same done to them.
Wow.
Again, my question is, when the hell do we get off the daggone train? When do we wake up? When do we realize how we are destroying our seed, the ability for us to perpetuate as a people, as a race? When do we wake up? Why are we so stuck in, it ain't my problem, it's hers. It ain't my problem, it's his. He the one been raped when he was younger. She the one got daddy issues. She the one got my... When do we wake up? Please, somebody tell me, do I have to stand on top of the Empire State Building with a megaphone or big speaker and tell the whole world, wake the hell up? We are perpetuating this shit. We are perpetuating these cycles ourselves.
Because it's our problem. It becomes our problem. And you know what? In my marriage, the straw that broke the camel's back, I just look here. One morning, my ex-husband got up. He was pissed off at me about something. Who cares? Who knows? Whatever. And so my son was up at about 5, my youngest son, doing his homework. He commenced to go in there and fuss at him. I said, oh, just stay a minute. That's it. I politely said, BL, check this out. I'm not going to curse. I'm not going to fuss. I'm done. You do you. I'm going to do me. Because it's one thing for you to say something to me, baby, because I can take it. Because I'll tell you some shit that you ain't never heard before. Because I learned from the best, old school. But I ain't going there. I said, but when you say something to my child, because your father treated you that way, we're not having that cycle up in here, baby. Period. And I promise you, BL, for 90 days, I never said one word to this man. And I lived in a 4,000 square foot home. I walk up one side of the step, he walked down the other. And I told him then, that's when I was in church, I'm going to pray you up out of here. Because he was like, you can leave. You can leave. Now, both of our house name is on the deed. You can leave. I said, I'm not going no damn where. But I tell you what, I'm going to pray you out of here. I moved my stuff into the bedroom, continued to go to work. In less than 30 days, baby, he was gone. Gone. Took some salt. My mother told me take some salt, scrape it out to the curb, honey. He was gone. That was the end of our marriage. That was the end of our marriage. Although he didn't give me a divorce for like 3 or 4 years later. Because I said, I'm not paying for no damn divorce. I don't give a damn. I ain't the one who cheated. I'm not the one that's abusive. I've been trying to be the best wife I could to you. I'm not paying for nothing. I said, and if I have to die married to you, oh well. I'm not paying for nothing. I said, if I meet a man who want to marry me, if he love me that much, he'll pay for it. But I'm not paying for anything. And eventually he paid for it. And then had a nerve, BL, to want to come back. I said, oh, no, baby. That's what divorce is for. I ain't about one of them chicks going to marry you 2 or 3 times. You had your opportunity to do it. You didn't want to do it right. Keep it moving. I have no hatred, no animosity, or anything. Keep going. Because I'm cool. I'm at peace with myself. But you will not talk to my children that way. You will not abuse my children. I can take a lot as a grown-up. But not my kids. Don't do my
Mhm.
children. And that's what people fail to realize. Like you said, BL, it's a trickle-down effect. You think because you curse and you yell and you fight in front of the children, it has a profound effect on those children.
You know what? You're so right. And I guess I can be a little personal with this in the marriage that I'm in now. Um, we had our issues, but when he would take it out on the kids, it became a whole different ballgame. And he saw a different side of me when he would do that. And now he's out of the home now, but I remember my girls sharing with me on more than one occasion, actually. And I think this is the thing they struggle with the most. They say, well, Mom, we never saw it. And you dated along the way, even before marrying him and whatever they knew I dated. But they said, we never saw you have those kinds of arguments. We never saw any man approach us in that way, mad and mean and hateful and just angry at you and taking it out on us. We never saw any of that. So all of this is new to us. That's the hurtful part about it, because he came in, he said he wanted to love not just you, but us as well. And when he gets mad, he's doing certain things, not just to you, but to us. We're not used to that. And when one of my daughters said to me, I don't know if I want to get married, because if this is what marriage is like, I don't need to get married. And I said, oh no, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I need to change, and that made me, I get it that there's a God mission, there's a whatever mission and all this other kind of good stuff. But when you hear your child say that, it's like, okay, you know what? We regroup in here. My priorities have
Right.
now changed. They've reverted back to Mama Bear. And then my husband, he may still be hot with me now, but you catch him on the right day and he's willing to be honest and truthful, he'll tell you I rose up the most anytime he said something crosswise to my children, because that's a
Well, but
no-no.
you know what? The good thing is, BL, he can accept his wrongdoings, and at least he does acknowledge it.
No,
Because
he
some
didn't.
people,
That's a struggle. That is a struggle. The one or two he did acknowledge and come back and apologize, but the rest of it, he's not there. His mind is still, the church still got him
well,
in
some of them, as long as he's in church, is never going to be there. You know, as
well,
long as he's in church, and if he got a church to cover his bull crap, and they don't hold him accountable, as some of these churches do, 99.9% of them don't hold their asses accountable. Because I feel like this: if you tell me that God is a forgiving God and church is a place you go to get healed or whatever, okay, then why aren't you telling this man that you need to go to your wife and you need to heal that situation? I don't care if you do go your way and she go her way. You need to make it right.
you need to heal it. Exactly. That's my philosophy on things. Whether you guys stay together or not, you need to resolve the issues,
And
handle
you
it
need
the
to
right
ask her for
way,
forgiveness.
and
And ask
exactly.
her right. And if forgiveness is supposed to be for us. Say if I ask somebody for forgiveness, it's not for them, it's for me. Okay, how in the hell can you be up in this church praising and praying and doing all what you do, and then you have animosity and unforgiveness in your heart? Because that's also in the Bible. Before you go to that altar, if you got a problem with your brother or whatever, you're supposed to go back and take care of that before you come to the altar.
It sure is.
Christian, and I and y'all try to drop these little, you in the church, but you going to accept this and we ain't going to accept that. Well, either you going to accept the Bible, you're not going to accept none of it. Scripture. He's supposed to go make it right with his children, because when he married her and she had children, you didn't marry her. You married God. And you took it upon yourself to be there, to do your part, not only to her, but to those children. So you right.
Wow, and you're breaking up. That was good. I know that piece is good, and you're breaking up though.
I'm sorry. And it says, uh, and when you don't treat your wife right, your prayers will not be answered. So I tell people, don't let me break down the Bible. Now, I might can't tell you where to get the scripture, but I know it's there. So
Mm-hmm.
if y'all upholding this man and he's in the church, he shouldn't even be allowed in that church without making it right with his wife, so that you can make yourself right with God. That should be your objective.
Wow.
Now, what other people think your objective is be, in order to have peace in my soul, let me humble myself. Like it says, you humble yourself at the mighty hand of God. That's all of us. If we want to put church into it. So,
okay, let me pause you for a second, Spoken. Now, you know what? It's so strange. I got to stop. Hold that thought, though. As you're speaking, as long as you're not speaking about, well, let me word it this way. When you started speaking about the man in the church and being upheld within his foolishness and not resolving stuff the way he's supposed to, the line started getting funny and your sound started going in and out where we couldn't even barely hear you.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Isn't that something?
That's some negative energy trying to block something that people need to hear.
Yes.
I want you to repeat that if you can.
Okay, I believe that if he is in the church, if he's still in the church now, as you say he is, and he is a man of God, which I pass no judgment on anybody, why isn't that church sitting him down, the brothers, the pastors, the deacon, or whoever, why aren't they sitting him down and saying, look, you and your ex-wife and your children have some unresolved issues. If y'all want to meet together or whatever, you need to go make it right with her. Even if y'all decide to not be together, go y'all separate ways, you will never be able to have peace in another life with another woman or anybody until you make it right with her. You got to ask her for forgiveness. Whether she chooses to accept it or not, that is on her. You're asking for forgiveness for you. You need to sit those girls down and say you're sorry for anything that you've done or you said or you put them through in order to be able to go on with your life. You got to close that chapter first. And if you decide to not be in those girls' life or not in BL's life, that's fine. But you got to make it right. And that's what pisses me off when they come to these churches. It's okay to remarry 4 or 5 times. But what about the other marriages? Have you made it right? Have you closed those chapters? Or did you just move on to someone else?
Well, shoot, I don't know. In my case, my husband was given his next wife from the church while he was still in the house with me.
Then they allow that foolishness.
And she a member of that church.
See, and that's the foolishness that they allow. Because that ain't going to happen. You met your former wife in the church. You're not about to marry nobody else in this church. And if you do, you and her can get up out of this church because we're not going to be a part of that.
No. It was set up that way. In my case, it was set up that way. She was sent with the intent to create conflict in the marriage, to break us up. The leaders they positioned her to be in his face all the time, and she needs this and they would always call him to do for her, position them to constantly be together. And this is what God wants you to do. God this, God that, God this, and he just drunk all the Kool-Aid. Next you know, we fighting, and they got her sitting right there waiting.
And see, and that's why I don't do church. That's why I don't do church anymore, Bill. Because you can't tell me the God and the Creator that I serve. God don't bless no mess.
See, that's what I struggled with, and that's what my kids have struggled with.
Yes, this man is married. As a church, he shouldn't have no contact with no other woman without his wife present.
Well, I don't know about that because I think there's some limits there. There's some, if you built the right relationship and depending on what his duties are.
When it's getting personal and emotional, and you have ulterior motives.
Right.
Now, if you're just having a general conversation with a deacon or a brother and you asking a question in regard to the church or a question in regard to a Bible or a question in regard to maybe you have an issue with your husband, but you want a man's opinion about it, that's understandable because you don't have an ulterior motive. But when your whole motive is to come between what they say in the Bible, what God put together, let no person come between, when your whole ulterior motive is to destroy something that God has built up, no, that's a no-no.
Well, then, there's another factor because, I don't know. We talk about my situation personally. The pastor told me directly he didn't believe God put us together. And another leader in there said, no, I believe that marriage is of Satan. I don't believe this marriage is of God, so it's not going to last.
Well, they're not God. Who the hell they think they are?
If you ask
Did they talk to
somebody,
God? Did they talk to God directly?
according to them, they speak to God, and what they hear from God is godly, and what we hear from God was not godly. We were listening to Satan.
That's why I don't do church.
Okay. These people, they something. They're something, definitely. They can be something. Uh, but yeah, I think that the focus wasn't supposed to be in my situation. But yeah, that's I mean, it is what it is. That's the reality of it. As I'm talking about this other lady situation, yeah, my husband, he came into our team, is how I raised my girls. We're a team of three, and when he came in, we became a team of four. And so, like you said, when one is dealing with something, the whole household is dealing with it. If one person, when my daughter, she wound up having some asthma, breathing issues, or whatever, turned out to be allergies real bad and stuff like that, the whole household had to regroup to accommodate
Yeah.
her breathing issues. That meant we changed our schedule. That meant we added more air filtration. That meant we did things differently, and where we went and how we went and how long we stayed, because it's a team. And so when my husband came in and we let him into the team, and he was officially indoctrinated, I guess, as a team member, that was something new for him. That's something definitely that most of the people at that church don't even understand. But I think because of my background, and some of the people that I've dealt with over the years, I chose to create a team environment in our household. We're not all equal. Don't get it straight. Just because we're a team doesn't mean we're all equal. Because I'm
Right.
still mama and the kids are still kids. So we have, those differences in position. But what we do, we think of the others in the household and how it impacts them before we take action.
And that's
Um,
and BL,
mm,
you're right. That's with any household. And like you said, you're a team, but there's a team captain.
mhm, mhm. And so, but yeah, it's men. If you can't deal with her issues, if you can't deal with your issues, if you're not willing to learn, to apologize, to go to therapies, to do whatever it is you got to do, leave her alone. And that's the same thing with the women, because there are some men out here that are single parents raising their children. The woman
Oh
comes
yeah.
in, she sees him, she's like, oh, he might be a good cat. She's taking care of the kids. Lord, he don't know how to do the baby's hair good, but he trying, bless his heart, he trying. He got the parts crooked, but he trying. And she figures she can get right on in there, got her, she got a home, she's got a ready-made family, she don't have to mess up her body to have babies. If you're not willing to go to 9 yards and then some to make that a successful relationship, and make sure those kids don't have any unnecessary drama and baggage in the process, then you need to back up off of him. Leave him alone.
Right.
Leave him. I
Because
don't
if you're
care how
not coming
nice
in
his
it,
house is. you
right,
know?
if you're not coming in it for the long haul, then you don't need to come at all.
Period. It's time out for all of
Because
this
yes,
playing around. You play around from what, 17, 18 to maybe 22, 23. That's your window of playing around. By the time you get 24,
well, you know
25,
what?
it's time to start settling in.
Well, BL, like I always say, I done been girlfriend. I done dated. Now I'm at an age to be someone's wife. I ain't about to be no side chick, no other chick, no girlfriend. I've been all that in my young age.
Mm-hmm.
If you ain't coming in it, and now I don't have my children to worry about, to that degree because they're all grown. But still, they are still a part of my life. My grandchildren and my children are in a very intricate part of my life. So their opinion does count, and how you treat me does count because my sons ain't going for it. So I have to have someone that's going to, be there and that's going to do and treat me with respect and dignity the same way I'm going to treat him, because I'm not going to come in with no man and treat him like crap either. I want respect. It has to be earned. I'm going to give you that. We're going to sit down. We're going to talk. We ain't worried about sex and all that. And I ain't even with that, like that movie, Think Like a Man, the 90-day rule and all of that. We grown now. We grown.
Okay.
We overgrown. We ain't in our 20s. You
Mm-hmm.
might do it the next day. You might do it the third day, whatever. I'm not with that. But we're going to sit down and we're going to deal with them hard questions before we go anywhere. What about your past? What type of relationship do you have with your parents if they're still alive? What type of relationships do you have with your children if they're still alive? With your grandchildren? I need to know all these things so I know what I'm walking into.
Oh, it's so strange you say that because you bring up an example, something that crossed my mind the other day. And I guess that's why it crossed my mind because somebody knew that we were going to be having this conversation today and it fits right on in. The
Okay.
relationship they have with their children. When I was in college, undergrad, I dated a guy, nice guy, cute, and actually he was 2 years older than me, so he was already out of school and he'd already begun his career. He was entry level position management with the company, and so he was poised for growth and all that other good stuff, and very likable guy and all. But he had a daughter, and his daughter's mother did hair. And I remember going home with him. He's from Ohio, and we went home for one of the holidays. I think it was Thanksgiving or whatever. Went home with him for Thanksgiving, and I had not gotten my hair done. So, and his sister had said, "Well, come on up. We'll find a hairdresser when y'all get here. Just come now. Don't be trying to get your hair done and waste time. Get on the road now so you can beat the traffic." And we did, and it worked out that his daughter's mother, his baby mama now, she's the old squeeze. I'm the new squeeze. She's the one that wound up doing my hair because she had a salon. That man was on pins and needles the whole time. You ain't never seen a man sit in a daggone women's hair salon while hair getting done. But he sat there the whole time, paranoid that we weren't going to get along. Finally, before it was over, I think maybe about 30 minutes in, she and I hit it off so well. We both said, you know what, you need to go somewhere because you annoying us sitting here watching us. We're doing fine. We're getting along fine. Ain't no issues between us. And he did.
Wow.
And when he came back to pick me up, I was like, okay, cool. I like her. Next time we come back, she's going to be the one to do my hair because, I did well with her. But we needed to meet anyway because he had, been talking marriage. So I was like, well, okay, I'm going to have to meet her and the daughter and, kind of see how that stuff gels together. Well,
Right.
move on a little bit. And Christmas rolled around. So we did Christmas with my family in New York. And he bought the airline tickets, the rental car, paid. He paid for everything because I'm still in school. I'm still a struggling student in school, and honestly, yeah, he's helping me with my bills in my apartment as well as paying his own bills at his place.
Wow.
And Christmas Day, when we wake up, and so we're doing the gift exchange, and so I asked him because I had previously asked him if he took care of her, and he said, "Yeah, I got her straight. Don't worry." And so I asked, well, what did you, get for her? He said, well, I haven't gotten it yet. I'm going to get it when we get back on my next check. And I said, what do you mean you didn't get it? He said, well, no, because I had the plane tickets, for me to fly here, you to fly, and all of this other stuff. And hold on, wait, we had our first major argument Christmas Day, and it was over his daughter. Because my words to him were, don't you ever use me as an excuse not to meet your daughter's needs. Your daughter had a need to have a gift from you on Christmas Day. She's being raised to where you celebrate Christmas and you have those presents. And now her siblings, everyone else has got stuff coming in, and you're her dad, and you tell her she's got to wait till later to get her Christmas gift because your girlfriend needed to fly home to her mama. Oh, that ain't gonna fly. Ooh, we had a big argument, and he couldn't understand it. And I didn't even realize this is what was
You like
coming out
me,
of my
BL,
mouth.
when it
But I'm
comes
like,
to that.
no, 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 no. We could have done it differently. We could have skipped New
Right.
York, or we could have skipped, some of the shopping we did. We could have drove. We could have did something different. But don't ever make me an excuse for you not to do for your child at the time of. Your child doesn't come late. Your child comes first.
And
And
you know what? You're so correct.
and that wound up actually making me and his the mother of his daughter closer because I call her and apologize. I had to apologize for that and let her know what happened, and she was very appreciative. Me and him broke up, and she moved to Atlanta, and she wound up being my hairdresser for the next 5 years.
Wow. And you know what? That's just good because that just shows the energy that you guys had in regard to whether he was with her or not. It just shows the positivity in the relationship that you could make with another woman. And it should be that way. And any guy that I've ever dated, I tell them immediately, I do not do baby's mama drama. Check this out. My older 4 children have their dad. My younger daughter has a biological father and a stepfather because I was married. I
Hmm.
said, and you don't ever have to go to them or address them ever I take care of that. I take care of that. And when it comes to your baby's mama, you take care of that. Because I don't do drama. Period. So whatever relationship that y'all have, I hope it's cordial, because I'm not going to be in the mix of no foolishness. That's what I don't do.
Yeah, you're not going to be in foolishness, but in my opinion, I think it should be to where the step parents, or, if you're engaged or whatever the situation, mingle and interact with each other to some degree. Because here's my theory on it. My theory is the child winds up with an extra parent. So it's a benefit to them because now they have another person to fight their battles if need be. And all the adults need to be on the same page of how they're fighting for that child.
And you're correct. That's why I was telling you my younger daughter has the best of both worlds, because we're all cordial. And it should be that way. If we get involved with somebody 9 times out of 10 BL at our age, or even in the 30s and 40s or 20s, you're going to have a baby's mama somewhere or ex-wife somewhere, whatever.
Right.
We all need to be on the same page. You don't have to like one another, but you need to be respectful enough to one another to know that it ain't even about us. It's about the best interest of the child.
Exactly. Yep.
And that child knows that not only do they have a set of parents over here, they have another set of new parents over here. And they should be able to go to either or with
and get whatever it is they need. Exactly.
Or whatever needs they have. If that means the man and his new wife and the mother and her new spouse, y'all all pull in together to get whatever that child needs, so be it.
And work together.
It's about the child. And it's about the mental health and the emotional health more than anything of that child. And that child has to know that they love and they nurtured by both parties. Now, y'all want to have a disagreement? Y'all can get on the phone together, or y'all can meet up as couples, and y'all can discuss that away from the child. But not in front of the child, because kids, again, they do not do what we say. They do what they see.
We do.
And if all they see is dysfunction and cursing and yelling and disrespect, they're going to grow up thinking that's the way you solve problems.
Exactly.
And you have to teach your children, we can agree to disagree. Because with my 5 children, I tell them all the time, BL, we are a unit. We must work together. Maybe this one has an alternative lifestyle. This one does this. This one does that. But at the end of the day, we family. We love one another. We disagree. We may not like the way this one decides to live. But at the end of the day, love is what's going to keep us together. And you will talk and you will make it right. And I had that conversation with my 2 daughters, the one in the church, and then, my other daughter in Texas, the lifestyle she lives. I told you about that. My daughter my daughter that's here brought her 4 children over because my daughter was here from Texas, so the kids could, play together and see each other. I had 11 kids up in the house. And so my daughter from Texas, nasty attitude, again, didn't even want to acknowledge my other daughter was here. So my son-in-law went in there and hugged my daughter, and he told her, he said, I know y'all got differences or whatever, but y'all need to get on the phone together, go out in the car together, go for a ride together, and y'all need to make it work. And my older daughter got an attitude, but like I told her, at the end of the day, y'all are my children. If you have a problem with your sister, y'all both need to go together and sit down, not in front of the children, and work it out. Because at the end of the day, I don't give a damn what happens. You're going to be sisters the rest of your life. That ain't going to change.
You sound like my adopted mom. My adopted mom, her daughter and I had and this adopted family, I got wasn't an official on paper adoption, but I think when I was about 19, 20, I met them, and somehow we just clicked. And within like 2 or 3 years, I got adopted into the family of their children. Wow. And all of because they have a total of 7 kids that they brought together. And then, he had some prior and then they had together. And so I got adopted in. So that's how I have such a large, brothers and sisters, a large number of. And so this one sister, she and I are close in age. We're like, 10 months apart or something like that. And she's the sister I never had, and I'm the sister to her that she never had. And so we were really, really, really close. And for once, we had like a real argument where we didn't speak for about a month in all the years that I've known them. And we had gone home. It was the holiday. I can't remember which holiday we were home for. And we were there, and Mama could sense the tension between us. And so she would say something, and we weren't like filling each other's sentences and on the same page. And Mama realized it. And she was like, hold up, wait a minute, let's go to the barn. She drug us both down, and then we're in the country now. And the barn is where you go to get your lashing, whether it's a tongue lashing or a physical lashing, that's where you go get it. So we had to walk out to the barn. And on the way out there, she said, and look, I don't know what the hell is going on between the two of y'all, but we don't have that in this house. So y'all stay out here and y'all fix it. And when you come back to the house, I expect to see two sisters that love each other.
And she did exactly, BL, the right thing. And like I said with my older daughter, I called my older daughter, and I talked with her and my son-in-law, and I told her, I said, I truly apologize for the way that my older daughter acted. But like I told my daughter, I told you she left 3 or 4 days before she was going to leave because I just had to chew her out and tell her, we're not putting up with that mess. I said, it's very seldom, BL, that I get all 5 of my children and all the grandchildren together at once. You know what I'm saying? And like I told my older daughter, if you didn't do it but out of respect for me, you should have humbled yourself. I said, she came all the way over here with her children to see you. I said, and we'll get together during the holidays and things like that at the other one's houses or whatever. But it's very seldom. I can count on my hands, BL, in the past year where I had all of my children, all of my grandchildren together, at once. We're having a family gathering. Everybody's laughing and talking. She's in my bedroom, didn't want to come out, didn't want to speak to nobody, didn't want to give her sister a hug. And that's the one thing me and my children do. We never leave each other without a hug, without a I love you, without a kiss. And it's been that way all our life. Even when I get off the phone with my children, I be like, hey, love you, man. How you doing? I tell my sons, because they're black boys, text me. You don't have to take the time to call, but just let me know you okay. Because you're black and you're a young man and anything. We know how it is, BL. We don't have to worry about our daughters as much. You do, but, your daughters not so much as you do your son just being black and being a man.
Right. But so check in. Check in is what that is.
Yes, just check in. Wherever you at, just let me know. I'm such and such a place. Give me a name. So if something do happen, BL, I can trace it back and say, well, the last I heard, here's my phone, here's a text, this is where he was. Even if it's a lie, text me and let me know you're okay. Because they ain't going to tell you all their business, but at least tell me I'm okay. But I told my daughter, I said, that's despicable, and we don't do that. I said, we love each other. I said, y'all are all I had. It's my children and my mother. My younger brother, my older brother's deceased. I have a sister and a brother. My one brother's in Nebraska. My sister's here. We take care of my mom. I said, and I have my mom. I don't have a big family. My extended family, my cousins and all that, over the years, we, got distance. You know how it be with families. You get together at funerals or whatever. My kids didn't even know some of my relatives were any kin to them. That's a damn shame.
Hopefully ain't nobody date nobody.
Right. And we don't have family reunions anymore, BL, like we did when we were coming up.
Don't.
When we were coming up, we had family reunions. I had the parents. My father would have block parties. I remember my father having a custom grill welded. I'm talking about this grill was so big, BL, you had to carry it on the back of a truck. Wow. It was just that huge because my uncle was a welder. So my father had a custom grill. And we, remember back in the day when you had block parties, everybody would bring something.
And y'all just hang out.
You had some people to say, don't eat her food. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody would bring something. You hang out. You had the drunks, you had the dominoes, you had the cards, you had the pokina, you had the tonk games, you had the spade games, you had the kids playing kickball. Remember that? And I remember growing up, my parents both were drinkers, I told you. My mom would have pokina games, and they would have coffee cups with their little liquor in it, and then they would have the red chips and the cards with the pokina, and everything. And I mean, they had the most wonderful time. And like I tell Lance, these women, although BL, they drank, these women have so many nuggets of wisdom. It's unbelievable. And I grew up with women of strength that were resilient. Even though some of them got their butt kicked at home or whatever, and it wasn't talked about. But ain't Betty would show up with a black eye and some glasses on, and you be wondering what happened, or they played certain music and one of them wanted to cry, because they played the Clean Up Woman, Who's Making Love to Your Woman by Donnie Taylor. And one of them will start crying, and they'd be like, well, what the hell's going on with you? But they talked. They talked. And I'm like, what's wrong with the women these days? Even though these women drank, they put it out on the table when they got together, and they talk about, honey, such and such ain't no good, and he's doing this, and he's doing that. But they didn't leave, but they said they was going to leave at that particular time. But women nowadays,
we don't get together, and when we do get together, we're not talking of substance.
Right. And why aren't we sitting down? Me and my girlfriends, we do talk of substance. And, honey, sometimes, BL, they get a little mad because I'm just real and wrong, and I'm just going to tell you. And if I'm your friend, I should be able to tell you with love what you need to know, vice versa. And sometimes the truth is hard to accept. But we got to go back to those times when you sit down and you can talk. And just be real and be transparent. Hell, I'm hurting over here. Hell, I need this. Or can you help me with this, and bond together like my parents did back in the day when you had neighborhoods and you had communities of people where, say, if this one didn't have nothing to eat, they all get together and make a casserole or something and make a care package and take it over there to them. And I grew up doing this. My kids tell me now, they said, you know what? Mama, you have turned into your mama. And I said, what did you mean by that? They said, you always feeding somebody, helping somebody. I keep to-go boxes and stuff like that, and my kids constantly bring people over, and I'm feeding them. I said, but you know what?
That's the way you
no
were
matter
raised.
How much little I had or struggle I had, one thing I can say with the Creator, I've never had a hungry day. I don't care if it was rice and toast or whatever it was.
Exactly.
I always had enough to take care of somebody else, even when I didn't have a job, even when I was off on medical leave, even, BL, when I couldn't rub 2 damn nickels together. I always had enough.
Had some food.
To feed somebody else. We didn't have no damn hamburger helper. Remember, we get some macaroni, you get some hamburger, you get some tomatoes or tomato paste, and you made your own damn hamburger helper.
Well, I'm a scratch. Well, I was raised on doing stuff from scratch. We didn't buy a whole lot of stuff.
No, but I'm saying, you had the girlfriends that do the instant stuff. See, I had 4 kids. By the time I was 28, 29 years old, I had 4 kids to feed.
You can't afford instant. You got to go scratch.
Right.
With 4 kids.
Wasn't gonna do it. I couldn't buy instant mashed potatoes. I had to peel 5 pounds of potatoes.
And mash them up yourself. Put you some fresh salt and butter in there, and
I had boys, BL, who drank 4 gallons of milk in a week. I had boys who ate 8 or 9 boxes of cereal, and they didn't use a cereal bowl. They used a small mixing bowl. They played sports, so they ate all day. Me and my ex-husband had to buy 2 deep freezers, one big one for, like our food and meats and all of that. Then we bought a smaller one for the kids, for, their ice cream and their popsicles and their Zuzus and their Wham Whams. Because my husband, my ex-husband, when we got together and everything, I always kept stuff in abundance, cases of stuff.
Right.
And so he was like, I can't believe that these boys go through 4 gallons of milk in a week. I said, they do. I said, they play sports, and we would go to the grocery store, and I'd spend $400, and he would say, you mean to tell me you buy that many groceries? I said, yeah. I said, my kids eat from scratch. I'm used to cooking everything from scratch. I said, I get fresh green beans or go to the farmer's market. He didn't know about the city market or none of that BL till he met me. I said, I sit on my porch and I pick these green beans. I sit on my porch and I snap these peas. I
Well,
go in the kitchen and I clean 10 bunches of greens. It's normal for me.
mm,
I peel sweet potatoes.
mm, mm.
Hopefully one day in my life, BL, if the Creator says it's so and my finances get a little better, I want to bottle my sweet potato glaze, my ham glaze, and my peach cobbler glaze. And I was talking with that guy who does the recipe development, and I've been
Right.
working with him because I don't measure anything. So I told him, I said, well, I'm gonna have to take some time and start measuring it as I make it, and then he's gonna work with me, and we're gonna try to bottle it. You know, I don't know how much it's gonna cost, but my sons and my daughters was like, you know, Mom, we will help you. You know, that's all you've ever wanted to do is cook. You know, that's something that you should do. And you know, maybe you get your recipe out there. Maybe they will bottle it.
Wow. Wow. It's so strange. You know why it's so strange you say that?
Why?
Because I've been looking at some property. What now? One of my goals, one of my dreams is to be in the country away from the city. Not too far from the city because you know you got to come to the city for stuff, but to be in the country, to be on some acreage, to have a couple farm animals, a few goats, a few chickens, just I don't know necessarily know about a cow or anything, but the smaller animals, dogs running around, and to be able to look up and see a row of greens, a row of watermelons, a row of sweet potatoes, a row of spinach, broccoli, all the things that we like to eat, a couple peach trees and apple trees and grapevines and muscadine vines and stuff like that. And just the
Wow.
other day, I was looking at some property online that's available, and you know my wheels are turning. Like, how can I make this happen? Will this fit into my dream? And I said, well, so if I grow all of this stuff, what I'm gonna do with it? I need to figure out a way to can, bottle, and market this stuff. Just was it yesterday, day before yesterday? It's exactly what was on my mind. And the property is reasonable. The property is reasonable. So I'm
Wow.
like, hmm, hmm. So just a thought. But yeah, you're right. As far as that measuring goes, when you're used to cooking from scratch, you don't measure nothing.
Right.
And so people ask
You
you for
know,
recipes, and it's like, okay. And I literally have to, and it's the funniest thing. Too bad we're not on the video because I can show you how I do it. But I literally have to try to do my hand like I'm actually pouring it in and count how long. And now, like when my kids, when they were learning to cook, okay, well, you just shake it and maybe you leave it for 2 seconds or you leave it for 3 seconds. That's enough. Just, and they're like, Mom, we need, no, that's not working for us. We need to know exactly how much. Well, I don't know how much. You just, you know,
right?
this
Because you
time
know,
you,
back in the day, when you watch your mom and your grandma cook, they would say, "Oh, a dash of that, a pinch of that, you know,
exactly.
2 pinches of that, or whatever." So I did have to buy some measuring cups and stuff. I haven't used them yet because you know my grandkids just left, and I finally, you know, got some woosah time. But I said I'm gonna have to actually measure because you know, Bill, I'm the same way. I don't have measuring cups. Even when I make cookies from scratch, cake from scratch, biscuits from scratch, or whatever, I just know what to put in there. Just
Mm-hmm.
even with my seasonings, I know what goes in there. I can smell and say, maybe it needs a little more garlic. Maybe it needs a little more curry. Maybe it needs a little more this. You know, you just can smell the broth
It's
or
just
smell
a,
this or
yeah,
that.
it's a something. It's in you.
Honey, it's a gift that the Creator gave us melanated people. I believe it from the bottom of my soul. It's not very many melanated women, say 30 and up, because even because my daughters can cook, both of them, they throw down. I say 35 and up. It's not very many women that cannot cook. Now, it's some that don't want to cook or they don't desire to cook. It ain't their thing. But
mm-hmm.
most of us, you came from a background where grandma or auntie, somebody was cooking.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Somebody was
We get
cooking.
our age and we ain't cooking. That's because we don't want to. We've been spoiled into all these restaurants and stuff. But we know how to cook.
BL,
We have to
BL,
pay out the money.
I'm going I'm going to make sure that my daughter sends it to me and I'm gonna send it directly to your email. My niece went to Wendy's and got a grilled chicken sandwich and it made me almost puking. You know I don't eat fast food. A grilled chicken sandwich or some kind of chicken sandwich, and it had an actual moving worm in it.
See, that's mm.
And I don't know if she
Mm.
got a lawyer or what she can do about it. I don't know. at this point what she can do, but I know you know almost everything, so I know I can always come to you and ask
Ooh.
you, because you,
Mm.
well, I mean, you up on a lot of stuff, like legal stuff and like when it comes to like mental health and things like that, even dealing with my son. I asked my son, I was like, if you need to talk to somebody, I got somebody you can talk to, because I know you're very versed in that area, being a social worker. And, you've dealt with all kind of people with all kind of issues.
Right.
And I know he would be open to talk to you, because he's a real calm person, and he's pretty transparent as well. So I'm like, if you need to talk to somebody, I can get BL on the phone, and she will talk to you, because she knows more about this. Even though I'm in school for psychology, I don't have a master's, and, you've directly been a social worker and worked with people with these type of issues and, child issues and stuff like that, where he could talk to somebody.
Right. Wow. I'm still on this worm in the sandwich.
It's
That's a good
horrible.
reason
Yeah.
why I don't eat that. That's a good reason why I don't eat that. I'm
talking about, she put it on Facebook, because my niece is on Facebook a lot, but she has she's the one that has R&R Creations. She has it up on 40 Highway over here, not too far from where I live at. She has an event center, and she gives real elaborate parties, and stuff like that. She goes and set up. She has caterers and stuff like that. She does wonderful, wonderful events. You can look her up on Facebook. It's called R&R Creations.
Girl, what
wonderful.
we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to get her a spotlight podcast, because one of the things I want to do is start highlighting those of us who are doing the thing, just then, like you said, just do it. Well, if you're doing it, whatever your it is, I want to have a section on the channel with people who are doing it, so that if you're looking for a caterer, if you're looking for, I don't know, a bush hogger, if you're looking for someone that does microphones or does whatever it is they do, my channel can be a source for you to go and look and hear directly from the owners or the managers or whomever they are, as well as hopefully some of their clients would pipe in and give feedback as to, yeah, I used them, they were awesome, or no, they weren't that great, but their prices were good, or their prices were on point, they work with me, whatever the case may be, just to help continue to spread the word so that we can get back to using each other's services as opposed to going outside of our community.
She does a lot of stuff for the kids, like they do back to school things. She does like Easter egg hunts for the kids and, different type of events for the kids. She gives a lot back to the community, and she's pretty young. My niece is about 30, maybe she's 32. I think she's about 32 or 31 or 32. But she gives a lot back to the community. And although she had a bout with cancer about a year or two ago, she still keeps it moving. She really does do a lot. But, I mean, for this to happen to her, I don't know what she has done. I'm going to have to connect with her directly, to see what's the outcome or what she's doing about it. But it was disgusting.
I can imagine. Probably had her puking all over the place. I know they had me puking. I've probably been on the toilet all night long just from the thought of it.
I don't know if she went to the hospital or got an attorney or what, but I'm like, what in the hell? And that's why I refuse. I do not eat fast food. My kids usually know. My son will always say, don't even ask Mama because she don't want none. No, I do not. No, I do not. I'm about 85% to 90% vegan, but if I do eat some meat, I'll prepare it myself, well done to the third degree. I'm not eating nothing raw, half cooked. If it's done, I want it well done. I want everything crispy.
Good and black.
Good and black.
How they said, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Yeah, you want your burger charred.
And I'm just like,
raw
how
stuff.
many people, and then I thought about it, BL. I'm like, how many people have eaten there and maybe didn't look at their sandwich, or you know what I'm saying?
Girl, don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. Don't do that. Don't. I can't. Because there was a time when I did.
I think about people, and I was talking to my other two. I have two Hispanic sons, which they're, like you said, adopted into the family. From my sons playing football, they just became my family members about 13, 14 years ago, and they just always have been around. And, They're vegans. One of them is about 90% vegan, and the other one is full vegan. And I'm just like, I see why come people turn to veganism.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're scared. But back to what we was talking about, as a culture, we do have to learn to embrace mental health. We do have to learn to embrace one another, our past, be transparent so that we can develop healing. And although some of the things we might talk about amongst our family is embarrassing, it's hurtful, it's, painful, however painful it may be, we have to put it out on the table and say, forgive me. Show me how I can do better. Show me how I can be better. What can I do to make it better? And we start from scratch, and you start all over again, and you rebuild, and you learn to love one another unconditionally, because we all flawed people.
Exactly. Love is love, and love. Now we're gonna get biblical and scriptural. Scriptural. Love covers a multitude of all, right?
And you know what?
Covers a multitude of sins. Love covers all of that. So if you love, then you love regardless of the flaw.
And you know what, BL? My acronym for LOVE is love overrides virtually everything.
Wow. Now that's cool. Love overrides virtually everything. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Because if you love them, you still love them. I don't have to be, best friends with you going forward. What you did to me could be just that egregious to me that I can't build a relationship with you going forward. But I can still love you. I can still feed you if you're hungry. I can still get you off the side of the road if you're in danger. That doesn't mean we're best friends and you in and out my life and in and out my business. But that means I still love you enough to meet your basic human needs. Wow.
As a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell my children that all the time. I say love overrides virtually everything. We might not agree with one another. I might not like what you're doing. Even when my son was out on drugs or whatever, hell no, I didn't agree with it. Hell no, I didn't like it. I raised you better than that. But you're a grown man. I can't make those decisions. I don't have to enable you, but I will give you a plate of food. I will let you shower. I will let you wash your clothes. You can't stay here because you have to get your life together. But trust and believe, I will always be on that other end of that phone if you need me. No matter what time, day or night, I'm there. As long as the Creator allow my eyes to open and me to breathe, I'm going to be there because it's unconditional. I signed up for it 35 years ago when I decided to be a parent. And it don't stop till I close my eyes. Now, I'm going to give you tough love. I'm going to say those hard things that you may not want to hear because I do love you. And I want you to do better. And I know that you can do better.
And I think if so many people heard that level of support to that depth, think of how many would come up out of whatever it is they're in. How many would take the first step to come out knowing that they've got the true ride or die, got your back support.
Yeah, because I'm there. I'm there for my children. They know I'm there. It's times I've been and got up out of my bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. Didn't want to. I'm there. Like I told them, I signed up for it. When I decided to be a parent, I signed up for it. And I've tried to meet your needs as much as I possibly can. If I can't give it to you, it's because I don't have it.
Wow.
Now, I'm not going to enable you. I'm not going to let you manipulate me because I've been around drug abusers and I know how manipulative they can be, alcoholics or whatever. But I will feed you. I will be there for a shoulder to cry on. I'll walk that walk with you. If you need help, I'll be there. Ain't no shame in it. I will show up. And if I have to show up alone, I'll show up. It's like I tell people, baby, I was blessed when I was walking. I was blessed when I caught the bus. And I was blessed when I was driving.
Well,
and it ain't where you live. Because I've lived in the hood, in the ghetto. It's not where you live. It's how you live.
Exactly. But let's switch gears here. Something else I wanted to talk about, because this seems to be that again, I talk with so many people offline, and a lot more people are coming to me through a lot of these YouTube podcasts.
Okay.
Narcissism, and more
Well,
specifically between the mother-daughter, that paradigm. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know that it's necessary to detail narcissism, the definition. That there's so much information out there. I didn't even take the time to create, if you will, a PowerPoint or whatever on narcissism and the qualities and characteristics. There's so much out there. I may link to one or two when I post this. Just, I think, some good information for those who don't know. But most of us in the world today have kind of come into the knowledge of what narcissism is. However, what I'm finding is I've got a lot of people who are coming to me and who are raising the issue of that narcissistic personality disorder, that control, that need to control, and that being a factor in the mother-daughter relationship, especially when the mothers, when the daughters have become of age. And, at this point, by the time your daughter is 20, mother, you're 40, 50. And
right,
so you don't quite have it the way you used to have it. We still look good, but we're not the same as what we were when we were 20. And
right.
so there's some of that jealousy as well that comes into play. It's kind of like that mother growing old gracefully and allowing herself to step out of or off the stage as her daughter is stepping onto the stage. But just something that is troublesome, if you will, that so many women struggle with hatred, if you will, from their
Yeah,
mothers. It's
they
almost like
do.
it's. I'll tell you this. I remember when it first started coming to light to me some years back, maybe about 5, 6 years ago. I remember telling my girls, I said, I sat them down and I said, if I ever become that mother, because they were growing, and I said, these are things that happen. And they said, well, Mama, you haven't done that to us. I said, well, I know I haven't, but I want you all to know. And I want you all to know what the signs are. So if it ever hits me, I need y'all to check me, because I don't want to be that mother. I want to be the mother that can grow old gracefully and watch you grow into the full flower that you're supposed to be, and appreciate you and not have any hatred or animosity or jealousy, that it's time for you to shine and it's time for me to start kind of folding my wings and, getting in the back shadows, if you will. And so far I haven't fallen into that trap, and I've advised them to make sure that they watch for it just in case it hits me. I don't plan for it to hit me, but if it does, I done told them, check me and get whoever you need to do to get to check me, because I want to maintain a good relationship with my girls until I close my eyes. And I
Right.
know that becomes a factor. But that action is something that I dealt with as well. But when you have these mothers who can't grow old gracefully for whatever reason, have their own hangups, they didn't live their lives the way they should have. And most of us have some sort of regret, something we should have done when we were younger that we didn't do. And we get older
Correct.
and we regret we didn't do it. But is it the child's fault? Is it the daughter's fault? Or, do we have so many mothers who are so jealous of their daughters that they will try to put their daughter's light out, if you will, just to match their own light that's dimming naturally by age and by time. And that's something that, I'm kind of, I won't say I'm struggling with, but it needs to come out. Women,
It
we
needs,
got to
yeah, you're
realize.
right. You have to, it needs to be talked about. And I was going to interject and say, my daughter that's 19, she does makeup. She's a makeup artist, and me and her talk a lot. We're
Mhm.
really, really close. And so she's like, Mom, this is what I need. And she's showing me on Facebook and YouTube and stuff. I really don't get down with that, other than with you and Lance and the family. They know when I'm talking to you guys, I'm on a podcast. But she's showing me things, and this is how much you need to invest, and this is what I want to do. And she does people's makeup. And what I don't understand with mothers is you should want your kids to far exceed what you've done in life. And you know, I don't live a life of regret. Just like you hear me say all the time. I wrote a cookbook. I've got 3 poetry books. I haven't published them yet because, you know, I've been busy raising my children. Now that my children are grown, I've got time to do this, and they're willing. Like I said, with my children, they're like, Mom, we're going to all get together, and we're going to help you financially to achieve those things because you've given up so much for us. You know, but my daughter that's 19, beautiful. I'll have to send you a picture, BL, of her and her makeup and stuff. Beautiful, beautiful girl. And I love my children. And I give my daughters affirmation from home. So you don't need to get that out on the street. And even though my daughter's the one that's the minister or whatever, I don't do church, I commend her for the way that she lives her life. My daughter that has an alternate lifestyle in Texas, you know, even though me and her clash sometimes, still, I commend her for being the mother she is to her children. Yes, there's areas that she needs to work on, and I have to give her the hard truth sometimes. But I tell my daughters all the time, be what you want in life, and I'm going to help you financially in any way I can to achieve that. And my 19-year-old daughter was telling me this morning, she's so excited about it, and she's like, you know, because the baby's dad, you know, they're getting married, and he's a wonderful, wonderful father. And she's like, you know what, Mama? Whether he's there, this is what she said to me, BL, these exact words. And she don't curse. She said, but you know what? I don't give a damn. Because I was telling him, he changed jobs. You either going to be here or you ain't. We're going to move together. We ain't or whatever. But even if you don't, I'm going to do my channel. I'm going to do my makeup with or without you in my life, regardless. You can come and visit your child, whatever. I'm going to keep moving. She said, you know, I love him and everything, Mom, and we're supposed to get married, and he's supposed to have this apartment together in a couple of months, and he knows I'm trying to go to school, and I'm trying to do this. You either going to do what's right. She basically said, BL, you going to shit or get up off the pot.
Well, I was,
She said, because, Mama, because I'm moving to another place in the next few months. She said, I will move with you, and I will go on with my life, and he can see his son. I'll buy my own car. I'll do my own thing. I'm going to work, and until I get my channel up and my makeup channel going good, I'm going to work, and I'm still going to college, and I'm going to take care of my son because my most important priority is my son. And if he want to be in this life, he can. But you know what, Mama? Even if he's not, I'm going to be okay. You did it. I can do it too.
Right. And that may be the boost that he needs to get himself together when he realizes that she is all of that. She may not have accomplished certain goals yet, but it's in her.
Yes.
It's in her.
But you know what? Back to the lecture at hand, BL. For a 19-year-old to have this kind of wisdom, I'm like, she really has been paying attention to what I say or whatever. And you think sometimes they don't pay attention. She's like, but I'm going to do this. And she's like, you know, Mom, do you have this so you can help me invest? I'm like, I'm with you 100%. If this is what you want to do in order to be able to be a mother to your child, and she said, Mama, my child is my first priority. I'm going to be there for my child. I have to be there to teach him, to love him, to guide him, to nurture him. I have to be there. My son is my priority, but in being there for my son, I can also do this on the side. But she's thinking of her child first. And it almost brought tears to my eyes because I'm like, for a 19-year-old, you know these millennials are different, BL. For a 19-year-old to have her priorities intact, I'm like, you know what? I must have done my job. Thank you. She's hearing me.
And you getting your flowers while you still living, see?
Yes. And I don't understand, like you say again, with parents want to put your daughter's light out so you can shine. Whatever you didn't do in life for whatever reason, oh well. God says, as the Creator says, as long as you have breath in your body,
there's still,
you got time.
Exactly.
Maya Angelou didn't even start writing till she was in her 40s.
Exactly.
You
but
got
so
time.
many mothers, there's that jealousy, there's that envy, and they go behind the daughter's back and they try to play the daughter.
Though, BL, of something, how can you be jealous of something that the Creator allowed you to make? I don't understand that. Because if you raising your daughter and you nurturing your daughter and you affirming your daughter and you helping your daughter, don't she know that she'll get her flowers in the end? Because If you helping your daughter to achieve what she wants in life, most good children come back and help their parents.
But you know what? And you said there's a key point there. The circumstances, that the three scenarios that I personally know of where this applies, those mothers did not pour all of that into those daughters. The daughters got it however they got it, whether they got it from auntie. They might have gotten a couple pearls from mom, but they might have got the rest of it they got from auntie, grandmama, a book, a TV, somewhere other than mother. And that's the key factor there. There's this, and actually four, because I include myself in the same, that was something that I had to struggle with as well. They didn't get it from mom. They got it elsewhere.
Right.
And so that may be a factor in how it's easier for mom to be jealous of the daughter, because she didn't put all of that into the daughter to be that successful in whatever it is the daughter's doing.
And you know what? And another thing, you can't get out what you don't put in.
Mm-hmm.
Just like
and
a
so
bank.
reality is,
if
I did
all
not
you do,
mm-hmm.
even in the bank or any situation, if you don't never put money in the bank in your savings, you don't have nothing to go draw from. And we already know, BL, every woman that lay down and open her legs ain't no mother.
Well, yeah, we know that. You're right. Yeah. Uh-huh. But you find these
and you
mothers.
Wonder why. But you wonder why some of these girls grow up and some of them are disrespectful of their parents or whatever. And I'm like, although my mom and dad, they drank, my mom was alcoholic, she had a lot of health problems. She would go in and out the hospital and other things would transpire. I said, I still always loved and honored and respected my mother regardless.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Regardless. Now, we've had to sit down as I got an adult and I've gotten older and she's gotten older, and we had to have hard conversations about different things. But me and my mother, we can sit down now and talk to one another, and I can say I love my mother. Maybe she gave me what she had. I had to come to that realization, BL. She worked with what she had. Maybe my grandmother wasn't the best mother.
Mm-hmm.
You could only give what you have.
Right.
And
right.
if nobody has ever put it into you, there's nothing that come out of you to give to someone else. So the very thing that you desire, you have to be that. If you want love, you have to be that love to someone. If you want friends, you have to be a friend to someone. If you want nurturing, you got to nurture someone. And I believe that what you want in your life, you have to put it out into the atmosphere. Like I tell my children, if you want somebody to love you, you got to first love yourself, and then you have to learn to love other people as well. And that's not looking down upon the next person because they have less. You have to share. You have to give. And when you give, you have to give with an open hand, not expecting anything in return. Because I know the Creator, no matter what you give out, the Creator will boomerang it back with someone else. Just like meeting you through Land Show. You don't know, BL, how much of a help that you've been to me, to vent, to be transparent, to be honest, and to know you're not the only one. It's many of us that have felt this, and it's helping someone.
And that's why we pump up Lance's channel so much, because, and thank you for those kind words, but, they don't come to me. They just, I do what it is I'm led to do. But I believe that's why his channel is there. So many people are connecting with help in some kind of way, whether it's just conversational, and in some cases it may be financial, whether it's resources, people who can tell another person which office to go to, or how to cut the yard the right way to get it the certain green grass growing in the direction that you want it, which car to buy, whatever it may be that someone is struggling with. I'm seeing so many connections being made through that channel that I'm just glad I got plugged into it, and it truly was by accident. And like I've said before, about a year or so before even beginning to tell my story, I'd gotten plugged into his channel and been watching, and he and I had been communicating with each other, and so many people are getting help, and it's like peer-to-peer help. They don't have to go to someone that they might not trust, or they don't have to come up with any money. All they do is just get online and you listen to some of the podcasts, and someone is offering their services, their experiences, their testimonies, whatever it is. And you send an email, communicate with people, and before you know it, you're getting whatever your need is it's able to get met, and that's within reason.
True.
Obviously, if you're looking for sex, you're not getting sex on Lance's channel, you're not getting blowjobs, you're not getting all that kind of stuff. But we're talking things that are going to help you to progress to a next level in life.
And that's true. And it's coming from real people with real problems that have real life issues.
It's not some textbook that somebody wrote and thought up and decided, and this is how we're going to do stuff. No, these are folk who done in the ground trenches, done walked that walk, so to speak, already.
And that's what I tell people. I'm like, I'm a real person with real issues, with real life. And I'm like, do not. I have a poem about everything, BL, and I'm going to sit down and do that thing for you, too. I'm glad my grandkids are gone now. Like I said, once again, I got that woosah moment. I can get something done because I get them brain farts where sometimes, you get like writer's block where you can't even think. But, I tell people, I have a poem called I'm Still Blessed. In spite of what I went through, I'm still blessed. And at the end of the day, I'm like, do not let this hairdo, this lip gloss, these clothes, don't let it fool you, baby, because it's a real person in here who has had pain. I have been hurt to the core of my existence where my soul on the inside of me shook from the pain.
Girl.
And I tell people, honey, do you know what it is to cry and that lump comes up in your throat and you done cried till you can't cry no more? I've been there. I've been there. I've been at a point where I didn't have nobody to talk to. And like I said, once again, all that go through Jesus or whatever, no, I had to take it to the big man, the creator. Jesus couldn't help me. I had to go straight to him. I'm bypassing you. This is a big one. Like Fred Sanford used to say, this is the big one. No, I have to go straight to him. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to go to no church and go on no altar. I didn't want that. I needed to go straight to him for free.
What's that for free?
For free. And get my problems solved. I didn't want no hands laid up on me. I didn't want to be touched. I didn't want none of that. Go on somewhere. I need a touch straight from the creator down to me. No interference. And I tell people, I have life, I have problems like anybody else, but I can be transparent because I know, like you say, BL, it is helping someone else. And these mothers have to know that's a daughter you created. Let her light shine. Help her to let her light shine. Whatever you didn't get to do in your life, maybe the creator is blessing her through you.
Exactly. Or blessing you through her, but yeah.
Don't be jealous.
Wow.
We all could have made different choices on some of the things we've done. I've done enough foolish shit to last me a lifetime.
Okay.
And I had to grow up. I said, because when I became a parent, I was 21 years old. My first child didn't come with no manual. I learned, and I learned from the aunt. Hello?
Hello?
I don't know what happened.
I don't either, and it's mighty strange because even though you had dropped off and I wasn't talking, but the system was showing that I was talking, which I think is kind of strange. So,
yeah, you might have to go back and cut and edit it. But, we learned from other people on how to be better parents. And like I tell my children now, even though I'm going to be 55, I don't have all the answers. Sometimes, BL, I have to ask you. Sometimes I'll look on a podcast or something maybe, that you've done some months ago. And I say, oh, I got some free time. Let me filter through this and look at some things that have piqued my interest. And I get answers. And I can say Lance's channel has been a blessing to my life of all the transparent people that I've met and all the people he allowed to have a platform and a voice to help others. And I tell people all the time,
coming to him. He's got some real good stuff coming to him for that.
Yes, until you can be transparent with yourself, you can never get the help that you need. Don't be embarrassed. There's nothing to be embarrassed. We all have done stupid stuff. We all have loved someone that wasn't worthy of our love. We all been with that guy. Nobody could tell us nothing, honey. We was in love.
Well,
We all been there. I've done some things, honey, only the Creator knows about. Because they couldn't tell nobody. But at the end of the day, I tell people, honey, I'm transparent. So therefore, like I tell my children, can't nobody come and tell you nothing. I done it. I'm ashamed of it. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Let's move on.
Right. And that's all we can do.
That's all you can do. You know, I tell my kids, I'm not Superwoman. Just because you don't see me cry nothing, baby, don't think them tears don't flow. Sometimes I have to go in the shower and let the water run while I cry. But it's happening. I'm a human. I don't have the answers to everything. I can't do everything. And sometimes as a parent, you just have to say no.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's not just no to them, it's no to yourselves. Just like we were just talking about the mother-daughter thing and the mothers being jealous of their daughters. Sometimes, Mom, you got to say no to yourself. Sometimes you got to check yourself. Sometimes you've got to say, am I being unfair to my daughter? Am I trying to live my life through her? Am I talking about her, playing her, hurting her in various ways for my own stuff? Or is it because she deserves, and well, I don't know. What daughter deserves for the mother to hurt them? None. You know, as far as, unless it's in self-defense or something, mother has no business wanting to hurt a daughter or child, period.
And you know, you're telling me something, BL, that I didn't know because I never even thought about it like that. And I just, you know, you do see that sometimes. And
Girl.
I had someone to say this to me, BL.
Mm-hmm.
A person I know, I'm not going to call her name. This guy was trying to date her daughter. He was much older than her daughter. She made a statement and said, I wish I had been dating him. And I kind of was like, what the hell would make you even say that? Because the guy, he was older than her. I don't know how many years older, but, you know, he was much older. And he done a lot for her financially, you know, and everything. You know how an older man would do. Because he was well-versed, and he really provided for her and her daughter, which is a person I know's granddaughter. And I'm like, you know, what was she was like? He tried to talk to me years ago. Okay, well, it didn't work out or whatever happened. Now he's talking to your daughter. Why would you say that?
A jealousy.
It was like you almost regretted. Right. It was, to me, you almost regretted him being in your daughter's life, which is a help to her, and your daughter seemed happy. What difference do it make? He didn't want you.
Oh, so that other call finally hung up. Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I've never heard of anything like that in my life. I was like, what would make somebody say that?
Jealousy. And and you know what? I'm not going to tell this particular person's story. I'm going to flip back to my own. That's something I dealt with my mother. And it wasn't, I think I was about 22, 23. And this was in my first marriage. Now, I've told you this before. Grew up, we didn't have a whole lot. We didn't have our own washer and dryer. We were in an apartment. For part of my life, we were in an apartment that didn't have hot water, didn't have, heat, stuff like that. And we finally moved to some place at least where we got hot water, we could bathe every day. And this is, 60s and 70s in New York. And actually, we didn't move there until the 80s. So up until the 80s, we had to kind of live some conditions. And I remember, I think I was 23, about 23 or so. And I remember my mother came to visit. And by the time she came to visit, my husband and I, we had a fully furnished 2-bedroom apartment. I had a formal dining room in my kitchen instead of, little dinette set. I had washer and dryer. I had a fully done guest bedroom. I had a full, living room full of furniture, decorated, the curtains, the drapes, my thumb was very green back then, so my plants grew like all over the place. And I remember my mother making a comment saying, darn, but she said the other word. Well, I'm grown. I can say, damn, Brenda, you got more at this age than I have still now, basically. And it didn't register to me. I didn't, really put a whole lot into it, but it was something I remember discussing with my brother a couple years later, because I'd started to see some things in my mother my brother and I were talking, and we're like, wait a minute, we think she's jealous. Like,
Wow.
why would she be jealous? And in that moment of talking with my brother, that event, that statement that my mother made years prior popped right up in my head. And up until then, I had dismissed it. I hadn't thought any more about it. And it was in that moment that we realized, wait a minute. And he said, well, yeah, that was the sign then, but you didn't catch it. And I said, well, no, I didn't. Because, you would just think that mom would be happy about it. It's kind of a good thing that you made more progress in life
Yes.
at such an age. Well, that was a clue for me that no, it wasn't necessarily a good thing. It was good to me. And, she might tell the whole world it was good, but it really wasn't good. And as
And
life
in New York, that was doing it. When you had that type of living space in New York to have a guest bedroom and all of that, you were doing good. You were doing
well,
okay.
we weren't in New York. She still lived in New York. We were living in Atlanta at the time. But still, the
Okay.
fact remains that, because I'll tell you this, when I grew up, we didn't have furniture in our living room until I want to say 80, till I was in middle school. So all those years prior, we had an empty living room. So and actually that was a playroom for us, because me and my brother, we get some broken down wood and we would be building all kinds of stuff. That was our playroom. But it was kind of
Okay.
embarrassing because when company came over, we had to take them to the kitchen table. And if they had to go to the bathroom, then they had to walk past this empty living room where there was no furniture
Wow.
and stuff. So, and it is what it is. But what it said to me was, when I grow up, these are things I know I want to have. And so
Right.
when I got out and started working, the very first major purchase I made was a living room set. That was my very first major purchase, other than my little car or whatever. But when I got my own place, when I graduated school, I had my bedroom set, and I had a little dinette set. I bought a living room set, full set. It wasn't and I'm not knocking anyone who's at a point where they got to piece stuff together, but I didn't want piece together. I wanted a full set. I went down to the
Now that's
store.
now
I
that's
put some
me,
money on
BL.
layaway, and I kept paying on it till I got it out. Okay, that was, and that came from my upbringing of not having that.
And back to what you said again. You see the very things sometimes that people say to us, and you don't. You just put it to the back of your life. But then something transpires in your life, and that very thing will come back up.
Mm-hmm. And then you remember that was a warning sign then that we dismissed as, we weren't even thinking anything of it. But as life would continue, as I continued to progress and make various accomplishments, and eventually I found myself divorced in my own house, um, multiple cars in my garage, had traveled, and I'm moving up the career ladder, and I've got a little side gig as well, and I'm not rich, but I've got, if there was a call to come for a need, I was able to meet the need, put it that way.
Right.
And it was during that time that I realized how jealous my mother was, and
And
it wasn't just
it's
her.
people like that.
She passed it on to my sister, and so the
It
two
is
of them.
people.
Hmm.
It's people like that out here in this world, and like I say, I've had the $300,000 and $400,000 homes. I told you I've had that. Me and my husband, when we worked, we made almost $200,000 together. And my two daughters now, I told you the daughter that lives in Texas lives, in the suburban area, beautiful home. My daughter that's a minister, beautiful home. My sons have apartments, but they gotta get some wives or something before they do all that. But that's their life. But I'm very grateful that they're doing things at an earlier age than what I'm
Hmm.
doing. BL, I never bought a brand new car. I'm talking about brand new, no miles, nobody driving it, until I was 42 years old. And I bought a brand new car online. It had 13 miles on it. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Hmm.
was doing other things and taking care of my children. And I had a used car, and I paid for it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a car note till I was 42 years old. But no reflection on my children. I'm glad they have vehicles. I'm glad my two daughters both have cars that's paid for and all of that. I'm happy for that. Now, my younger daughter, she needs to be practicing driving.
Mhm.
She's 19 and still kind of scared to drive.
Yeah, I got one of those
And I'm
too.
like, huh? Yeah.
I had one of those
Yeah.
too.
But you know what, BL? What do you do? Because, yeah, I'm too old and nervous to teach her how to drive. I'm thinking about calling Sears Driving or whatever they do to teach her how to drive. I can't do it.
I give her the keys,
She
tell you got to go to work.
brothers or sisters. Huh?
Give her the keys, tell you got to go to work. Or here's the other thing. Because we don't have that many vehicles in the home at this time, we're working on them getting their own vehicles. I'll run to the car first and get in the passenger seat. And so that way, if you want to get to work, you got to drive.
My son said that they would teach her how to drive because they all have cars. They can teach her because I'm telling you, I can't do it. I'm not going to be on no passenger side. When you get
But
your
see, I
license,
paid to send mine through. I had been teaching them a little bit, and then my husband worked with them. So, when they got their learner's permits, it was still another year before they went for the road test. And during that time, I paid for driver's ed as well. And when they got to driver's ed, actually, as it turns out, they had enough training between what I'd given them and what my husband gave them to where they really didn't need driver's ed. But I felt more comfortable with it because I wanted to make sure that somebody else covered all those bases that I may have forgotten to cover, because driving is serious business. You can get hurt.
Yeah.
And so they were able to breeze through driver's ed. And for very first time around on the road test, they got their licenses, both of them. Same day, as a matter of fact.
Bill? I told her to pull the car into the garage, and now I'm explaining to her.
Oh, Lord.
Put the car in drive. I said, put your foot on the gas. I said, but lightly. You just got to tap it lightly because it'll roll in the garage. Honey, she revved it up. Thank God I wasn't in the way of this treadmill. I would have been killed. I was like, oh, no. After that, I was like, I'm done. I'm done.
I know someone else's kid did that. The kid was learning to drive, supposed to be pulling the car in the driveway, and next thing you know, they got a hole on the back. I mean, the whole front end of the car went through the back side of the garage wall.
Yeah.
Thank God
Well,
I didn't have an issue with my girls. It
didn't quite do that because I had the garage door open, but she kind of revved it up, but my garage is kind of long, so it didn't kill me or nothing. But I'm like, had I been standing in the way, hell, you would have ran me over. I said, put the car, I'm hollering at her, put the car in park. And I'm just like, get out. Get out. I'm like, get out. Me and her laugh about that to this day.
Go ahead and put her in driver's ed. Spend it, maybe $400 or $500, whatever it is, or let her pay for it.
Pay for it.
And let her do driver's ed, because they have, well, first of all, they've got, a vehicle that's equipped with 2 controls. So they can brake as they need to brake. They're familiar with how to talk them down and give them the commands far enough in advance and all that other good stuff. So, girl, don't stress yourself about that. Get them driver's ed, people the money, let them deal with it. That's what they do all day, every day. And that's another thing. We as mothers have to learn. We can be everything, but there are times when we do not need to be everything.
And see, and that's me. I already realized, BL, that I have anxiety because, I was in a bad car crash. I was like, I have anxiety. I cannot do it. I will pay to have someone who's experienced and they have the expertise and they can teach you. And again, BL, they're unbiased. You know what I'm saying? You may listen to them where you think I'm just trying to be mean or I'm too aggressive or whatever. I understand, and you're so right when it comes to that, because I told her, you have a child now. Although he knows how to drive, baby, you need to learn how to drive too, because there may be times he's not there. The baby got to go to the hospital. The baby might need anything in the middle of the night. You need to know how to drive.
Exactly. Girl, don't let yourself be dependent on him.
And that's what I told her. I said, honey, I've been through that, BL. I didn't used to drive on the highway. So when I got married, me and my husband, my ex-husband, we moved to the suburban area, right? Only highway. I got in my car, and I got lost, honey, for weeks. I said, I bet you one thing, you ain't going to move me out here and think I can't go where I need to go. I got in my highway. I got in the car, got on the highway, and I said, Kansas City, it ain't nothing but a real big loop when you think about it.
Well,
I said, I'm getting on
gas up and keep going.
470. I mean, I learned that highway. And that's when I started working in Overland Park and Lenexa and places. I said, I refuse to be in an area, and I have to depend on you to take me where I need to go. I put my kids in the car. I said, honey, we're going on a drive. We kept getting lost. It was times I got lost and had to think about, like landmarks to get back to my home.
Mm-hmm.
But I continued to do it until I got it down pat.
Now, that's how I learned to drive, with landmarks. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I can drive from here to Texas to anywhere I want to go. And I'm not scared anymore. I will get on 35 and get on that highway, take me through Oklahoma, take me to Texas, and I'm there. But I used to be terrified to get on the highway. And I said, you know what? At the time, I said, you know what, God? You don't give me a spirit of fear. I'm going to get in this car, and I'm going to have my kids in here with me. Y'all strap up, put your seatbelts on extra tight, and we got to go.
Well, here's the thing. If you don't ever try, how do you know you can do it?
Right.
Or if you don't ever try, how do you get over the fear of doing it? How do you get good at doing it if you don't ever do it? You just got to do it. I mean, that was my thing. Just get in the car and go. If the car's going to break down, it break down. If you have a wreck, hopefully it's not I mean, really, you meet whatever comes, but you at least make the effort. You step out there and roll with it, and more often than not, it's going to roll the way you want it to roll. You don't know it because you haven't tried it.
And I told her, I live in an area now, it's a suburban area, but I live in an area, BL, where there's like 3 Walgreens, 3 CVS's, 3 this, 3 that, where she never really has to get on the highway to get anywhere she wants to go. The mall and everything is within 5 minutes of my home. I said, you must learn how to drive. You don't want, because I don't want her to be dependent upon anyone to do anything. I said, the fact that you have a child, baby, that should be motivation enough to say, I can do this. I said, just like you motivated to do your makeup in your channel, you ought to be motivated enough to do this.
Know how to get to the hospital, and Brother Keston actually was just saying that the other day, yesterday on the down at 3 Mass, when he was talking to them. I didn't hear all of it because I had some other stuff going on, but the part I did catch, he was telling them, memorize phone numbers. Every day or every couple of days, commit to knowing phone numbers. Don't depend on technology. Learn your directions. Don't depend on the GPS. Pull out and I still have one thing I used to do every time I went to a new city was I would stop at the convenience store and buy a map. I still have every map from all the cities I've driven in my entire lifetime.
Wow.
Because we didn't always have a GPS. But I still no. Pull out and even now I don't pull out the maps, but I go to Google. And if we're going somewhere and I tell the kids, okay, let me pull up the address. They said, Mom, we just put in GPS. Yeah, we can put in the GPS, but I need to see on a map where I am, where I'm going. Let me get an idea of all the main crossroads. So when I get out on that road and I get turned around and miss a turn, I know which major roads I need to get me back where I'm going.
You know what? That's the way that I learned BL as well. Like I tell my children now, I learned I can go anywhere in Kansas City, Overland Park, Johnson County, anywhere I want to go. The only thing that you need to tell me a major crossroad. Tell me if it's Quivira, if it's 291. Just like in Kansas City, you have major streets. You have the Paseo, which they're changing it to Martin Luther King something now. But that's a main street. You have Prospect. You have Truth. Tell me the main street. I can find it. I can find it. And
then if you know your north, south, east, west, which you remember the sun always rises in the north and sets in the west. I mean, rises in the east and sets in the west. If you know that,
that's what I tell my daughter.
Then you can find your way around.
And that's what I told her. I said, south is straight ahead. I said, look over this way. This is to the east. That way is to the west, and back of us is to the north. I said, as long as you know that and you know the major cross streets, you can find anything you want. And as long as you can find a Quick Trip, they'll tell you where you need to go.
Well, yeah, Quick Trip. Oh, I miss Quick Trip. Oh, we don't have Quick Trip here. We have Buc-ee's, which is very similar to a Quick Trip. It's a little lighter in color, but very similar.
Where I live at, it is about 6 Quick Trips I'd say 7. 7 quick trips in a 5-mile radius.
That's a lot.
That's
Now,
how
that
many.
is a lot.
It is a lot. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous where I live at. I mean, it's wonderful. It's convenient, but it is ridiculous. And they just building and building and building and building and building and building. Every time you turn around, something new coming up.
I have an issue with that. And my
I
personal
wouldn't
issue
mind
with
living
it
in the
is
country.
we
I'm
need
like
some
you. I wouldn't
grass.
mind living in the
Okay?
country on a farm.
Get away from all
On a
this daggone
farm.
cement.
Yes. I wouldn't mind living in the country on a farm where there's real trees and I can just take my shoes off because I'm country. I tell people all the time,
And
I
just
wear my
walk in the
shoes
grass.
for decoration only. And I mean that. When I say that, people laugh. I say, honey, why do you think my shoes look like they do? I only wear them for decoration. As soon as I get to the door, I take
They
off my
come
shoes.
off.
I don't have no problem walking out on the concrete, walking out in my yard with no shoes on. And I wasn't raised in the country. But I just like the feel of the grass under my feet.
You know what?
Now,
You got to come home. You got to come to the horse show with us in June.
You know what? I don't
We
know
talked
if
about
I
that
can
before.
Yeah, I don't know if I can or not, but I know one day I'm going to have to come and visit. I like the country. My father's from the country, and I remember going to my grandmother's. They had outhouses and stuff then. I'm scared of snakes and worms, but, I would fish if they put the worm on the hook. I would fish or whatever, crawdads or whatever. I'm not that kind of funny person. I know how to scale the fish and all of that. But, and then, remember when you would scale the fish and you open it up and it had the lung bags in there?
Mm-hmm.
Inside the fish, we would pop those because my dad was from the country. So just that good air, the air is even different that you breathe in.
Mm-hmm.
I told my kids, I said, y'all don't know about that.
And I made it mine. My kids weren't born in the country. I lived in Atlanta when they were born, but we were close enough to Daddy's house, my adopted parents, to where I was home. Well, before them, I was home at least twice a month. And after them, once a month, maybe every 6 weeks or so, we were in the country for the weekend. And actually, that's how I would get my rest, too, because I'm working, I'm up in the morning, I'm dealing with them, and they were preemies, so there were some health issues. I had some challenges and stuff and some special needs and kind of dealing with all of that stuff and a lot of medical surgeries and all. And the weekends, maybe I'd say every 4 to 6 weeks or so, I would take a ride to the country, load the kids up, and go down. And as soon as I'm pulling up, I'd call Mama and say, Mama, I'm on my way. No problem. When I got there, all I had to do was go in and lay on my couch. And they had the kids the whole time I was there. I know they might not stay clean because they have them out there with them animals, so they might be a little dirty. But my kids to this day don't like living in the city. They want to be back in the country.
She hasn't been in the country, but I told her, I said, I'm older. I would love one day in my life, I said, to just go to the country and let you have some good, clean air and let my grandson, once he start walking, run around in the grass. Because he was a preemie, too. When he was born, he was 3 weeks early. He was 5 pounds, 4 ounces. But his butt right now, BL, is 20 pounds.
Well, they're not. Those preemies, they do it. They do it.
He just turned 7 months Friday, and his big butt is in 12-month clothes. He's 24 inches long and 20 pounds, and I can't walk past the room without him screaming.
Oh, girl, you have to walk past and you can't breathe. That's the click. The clue is to stop breathing, get on the floor, and crawl so he can't see you. I'm serious. That's the only way I was able to get through it. I would literally, when I was checking on the girls when they were little, I would literally stop breathing and I would crawl and I'd peek in the nursery where they were. And if they were all right, everything was okay, I'd back up and back myself down my stairs and I'd breathe when I got halfway down the stairs. It's a shame that I had to do it.
That's what my daughter says. If when she's over, when she's here, she tells me, she's like, you know what, Mama? You can't even come down here. When you come down here, we have to have sign language, or I have to read your lips. She's like, because when you come down here in the nursery where he is, he might be just content playing. Soon as he see me, BL, he starts whining like she's really doing something to him.
Exactly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, he's heavy. And I'm like, my back is not that good anymore. He's heavy trying to carry him up 14 steps from downstairs, upstairs. He's super heavy.
Mm. Yeah,
And she's
these
like,
kids,
well,
they have a way of knowing. But now what I did tell you though, well, what I will say is my dog, I had a American Eskimo when my girls were little. My dog used
wow,
to be my babysitter in some cases because she would watch for them. She'd sit outside the nursery door and I could be downstairs cooking or I'm in, cleaning or whatever it is I'm doing and they're in the nursery, they're in their cribs and entertaining themselves fine. And the dog would sit there. If there was an issue, if one of them started crying or the one that was she was on a machine and if her machine was going off and I didn't hear it fast enough, my dog would make her way to me and let me know something was going on with the babies. I needed to go check them. But other than that, if I just needed to check them on my own, I had to stop breathing and go quietly in there and see what was what. Otherwise, Snowball did it all. Snowball would sit right there outside that nursery, and as long as they were entertaining themselves, she was fine. As soon as one went to crying, Snowball got antsy. And if she cried too long, Snowball was down them stairs wherever I was, or in my room, or if I'm in the office, wherever I was, finding me to get my attention to let me know, go check the babies. And it'd be,
wow.
they pamper changed, new bottle. They woke up in the night because my dog stopped sleeping with me and started sleeping outside the nursery to watch them children at night.
Wow, that sounds like my older kid's dad. He had a black Labrador, called Black. When I had the three oldest kids, if I went to spank them, one day my son was doing something. He was about 3. He was trying to climb up on something, and I was like, get down. And he was still trying to climb up on it, so I went to, pop his leg. Do you know that dog tried to attack me?
Snap you?
I I literally had to put this dog in the basement if I had to spank my children or raise my voice at my children, because he was literally that protective. And my son was like, he was a toddler. So he would be like trying to go to the front door. The dog would pull his shirt, like pull the back of his shirt and pull him back. Like he knew that he couldn't go to that door.
Because he knew it wasn't safe.
And I had to tell their dad, I was like, look, I feed this dog, I give this dog water, and this sucker tried to attack me.
Because you had the audacity to try to come against that child, and that dog sees the child as his.
Yes, he reared up and showed his teeth and barked like, if you pop him, I'm going to bite you. I mean, he literally scared me, and I put him in the basement. I threw a bone down there, put him in the basement, and then I whooped my son's butt. But at the end of the day, I knew then, you can't spank them. He's real protective of them.
I had another friend, his dog, and he had a Rottweiler, though. His dog was like that also.
I was like, and I love dogs. I love dogs. I really do. And this dog, when they would watch TV, he would go down and he would move them over and he would get in between them and lay down.
And sit right there.
Yeah.
And go figure, if you try to do something to the dog or if a stranger try to do something, that dog will snap. But my babies grew up with this dog. When I tell you they learned how to handle animals by this dog, they pulled her, they tried to ride on her, they checked her hair, you name it, they did it all. And this dog, not one time can I say that dog ever snapped at them babies. But if that were me,
dogs know.
And never once, I mean, I look back at some of the pictures and see them trying to hold her. But now also the dog was smart because the dog realized that babies don't know how to watch their food. So now we laughing at the dogs, but my children would be coming, whatever snack I done gave them, and they don't realize the dog gonna take it. They'll mess around and put the little plate of cheese doodles down, or put if they got a sandwich or something, they'll mess around and turn their back and look back again and it's gone. The dog done swallowed it up. And they sitting there and finally realize the dog would be eating their stuff. So they get mad and fling at the dog, and she wouldn't snap at them. She knew she did wrong. And she sit right there and wait on them to come get some more. Finally, my kids realized, okay, you can't put nothing down around this dog. Because this dog, she protect us, but she's a dog and she gonna eat it if you give her a chance. But she's gone now, bless her heart. I had that dog, 15 years?
Yeah,
15
we had
years.
A dog growing up, a German Shepherd growing up named King. And when he died, literally, BL, my mother cried like hey, baby. She had to give him to the pound because, he was old. He had cancer. His teeth was falling out. And, he was just delirious. And, she knew it was time for him to go. But my mother literally was sick behind that for some days.
Yeah, my girls still ain't got over our dog being gone. They still, when her name comes up, they get sad. And I think when I had to tell them she was gone, they missed school. They wanted to take off. And so I said, okay, no, you don't have to go to school today. I let them stay out of school. And for maybe the first 3 or 4 months, they would just break out into tears. It was like, wow, I know I struggled with it, but I didn't know they were going to struggle the way they did. They struggle with that. And to this day, when it comes up, they get sad. And
Wow.
they've learned to live, obviously, because life goes on. But that was, and it's hard, when you think about it, when we have someone close to us pass, we go through a grieving process. Well, the dog was a member of the family. Because I'll be honest with you, when my first marriage ended in divorce, we had a custody clause, and the custody clause was about the dog.
Wow.
And most people don't do that, but that was our child at one point. And so when we got divorced, the question was, how are we going to handle custody of the dog? Because it's our dog. It wasn't his dog. It wasn't my dog. It was, even though I was the one that wanted it when we went to the store, he latched onto the dog as well. And so that was part of, he get her for 6 months, I get her for 6 months. and that's how we did it. And if my schedule said, I wasn't going to be home, he had a key to come in and feed the dog. And I had, until he got with his next girl, I had a key to go in and feed the dog, where he was. And so we kind of worked it that way. And then we just started changing it to where, okay, well, I've got to be gone, so you take her and I take her. And, we just we worked it. We were amicable with it. And finally, once my girls came along and they got an attachment, he was like, okay, well, you know what? I'll just come by and visit her from time to time. But the girls are now attached to her, so I'm not going to take her. I'm not going to do that. Let the girl. And so I wound up with her permanently just because the kids came and the kids got attached. And he would periodically stop by and check on the dog, or say, I want to come get her for a couple hours.
Good.
And that's
good.
I think that's the way all relationships should end. Whether it's a dog, whether it's your kids, whatever it is, they should. But there's
in
real
our
life.
culture, even if it's not with animals, even if it's with the children, a lot of times in our culture, as us melanated people, a lot of people feel, whether it be the woman or the man, if the relationship don't work out, you can't see the kids, or I'm going to use the kids as pawns, or I'm going to hold the kids against you, or the dog, or whoever, because it didn't work out with us. I'm just not going to deal with you, period. And that's ridiculous.
I can't stand that.
Even though me and my ex-husband, we don't really talk like we used to. Excuse me. We don't really talk like we used to. But my daughter's grown now. They have a wonderful relationship. Like I said, she has a wonderful relationship with her biological dad. I don't intervene in that. Whether it worked out or not, I don't have nothing to do with that. As long as you treat my daughter with the utmost respect, which she's not going to let you treat her no other way because of the way that she's been brought up, I don't get involved, period. When they call her, when they talk to her, I don't never ask what y'all talk about or nothing. It's none of my business. I know how I raised her. She know what's appropriate, what's inappropriate. I stay out of it. My ex-husband even talks to my other children. I have nothing to do with that. We didn't work out, but for those 10, 11 years he was in our life, it don't matter. That's a relationship that you guys made with one another outside of me. And I had to tell my daughter-in-law that. My older son, he was married at 18, and he has a son that's 7. And him and her was married for like 3.5 years before my grandson came along. And I had to tell her, look, if the relationship with you and me had any merit, it shouldn't matter whether y'all together or not. Me and you built up a relationship together outside of my son. And y'all have a child, which is my grandson. You don't have to talk to my son in order to call and talk to me.
Right.
Me and you have a separate relationship. Just because it didn't work out with you and him, you shouldn't diminish and dismiss me because of him. I had nothing to do with that.
And that's
It took
sad
two to,
because people do that when you break up with a
and you know
party.
what?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that, BL. I haven't seen my grandson by my
Wow.
son. I haven't seen my grandson in about 3 or 4 years. My daughter tried to
Wow.
call her. My other daughter tried to call. Yes, and it breaks my heart because I see all of my other grandchildren. Even that one, my younger son, his baby's mom, the hellion. I even
Mm-hmm.
get to see her. But this one, I don't get to see him, and it's just like a piece of me is missing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what is his relationship with you? I didn't have anything to do with the building up of your marriage or the tearing down. Either way, because I didn't intervene with that. That's your husband. Y'all handle your own stuff. I'm one of them mothers. I stay out.
Mm-hmm.
You ask my advice, I may give it to you. That's about it. I'm not siding with you. I'm not siding with her. I'm going to side with who's right. But
And
as
the
far as
sad
the
part
kids,
about it is most people don't do that, what you just said. And so people are going to assume that you're going to automatically take a side.
no. My son-in-law told me one day, my little daughter, she was kind of spoiled. She was one of them diva-type kids where if her belt wasn't right, BL, she was going to be late for the bus. I had to take her to school, whatever.
Oh, yeah, I got
Her
one of
school
them.
was,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she's always been into dressing and just she's impeccable. But I mean, she got it from me. I can't really get mad about that. But he was like, she is so spoiled, and you know what I told him? That's who you married.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you married. I said, do not. And he asked me one day. Him and my daughter was over and the kids, and so we have photo albums because I always took pictures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I want to see her prom picture because she didn't know him at the time. She went to the prom with someone else. So my daughter tells me, no, I don't want him seeing them pictures. That ain't got nothing to do with him. That's my past. So he was like, what? I said, look, at the end of the day, she don't want you seeing that. That's her past. Those are my pictures. And I'm not going to intervene in between that. She said, no, it's no. Now, I'll bring the baby pictures out and all of that, but she feels like that she has a life with you now. The person she went to the prom with is in her past, and I'm not going to get involved with that. No, you can't see the pictures. When she wants to show them to you, I guess she will. But she's like, that, Mama, that's in my past. I've been married to him almost 14 years now. He don't need to worry about that.
Well, actually, my question to her is why? If it is your past and that's your prom picture, you're supposed to show it off.
I said, maybe he wants to see how you look when you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
But, I brought all her baby pictures out and a bunch of pictures, and she looks exactly like she did when she was a baby. And her daughter, too. Her daughter is a replica of her when she was a baby. And I told him, I said, well, and she was trying to snatch the photo album. She took the photo album from him. She was like, no, he can't. He don't need to see that. Because, he makes little snacks like, he makes little comments because he's real comical. Like, oh, look at Jessie. She thought she was all that. And, he'll say, oh, look at that outfit you got on. I told her, I said, well, but that's your past. You've been married to him for 14 years. What difference do it make?
Right. Mm-hmm.
We all got a past. Me and my ex-husband, I have pictures of, our wedding and all of that. Yeah, they in a drawer somewhere. It ain't like I got them BL out on display for everybody to see them, but they're there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to throw that part of my life away. That was a part of my life at one time.
Exactly.
We moved on.
And it's so strange. Some people, some new partners want you to, when you've broken up with someone, you shouldn't have any trace of the previous person in your home at all. Or, like pictures. And in our case, well, even men too, if you had a gift, if they bought you some jewelry, a necklace, a bracelet, a cufflinks, or whatever it is, why you still have that? You still want her because she bought you these cuff. I mean, really?
Well, my son had a girlfriend he was dating, so I had a picture of his ex-wife, with my grandson. And so she came over and she was like, well, why is that picture? I said, honey, wait a minute. This is my home. I can display whatever I want out there. And you know what? Whether my son is with her or not, the relationship I have with her has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with him. This is a picture of my daughter-in-law and my grandson. And regardless of him and her being together, he married her. She's always going to be my daughter-in-law, and he's always going to be my grandson. I was like, that's crazy.
Right.
How you going to tell me what I can display in my home? Now, if you idolizing that, Bill, I can understand that you can't get over the relationship and you still stuck in the past and you got 100 pictures of your ex-husband and y'all ain't been together for 10 years, okay, then you got a problem.
Right.
But just because you have a memento or something he bought you, say a tennis bracelet or something, okay, at the time he bought it as a gift. I'm sure he bought it with love or whatever. You shouldn't have to throw that away.
Girl, I ain't throwing none of my jewelry.
Me either.
I'm being honest with you. I ain't throw. And over the years, I've gotten, jewelry just, and not just from guys that I've dated or my ex-husband or my current husband or whomever. My uncle has bought me bracelets, just jewelry that I've amassed over the years. I'm not getting rid of any of my jewelry just because you don't like the fact that this was a birthday present from, somebody I dated when I was 25 or something. Really? No, because it doesn't have, I'm not with that person. I'm with you now. And you can see that because you're looking at me every day. So why is it an issue?
That's when you know a person has a level of insecurity. Because what difference does it make? That person is not in your life at this time. Yes, people buy us gifts for different reasons or whatever. Okay? You buy me a gift. Just because we break up, what does that mean? I'm supposed to give you back your gift?
Oh, and
I'm not going to take anything I gave you back.
Exactly.
If I gave it to you or I purchased it for you, whether the relationship works out or not, that was a gift that I gave you. What you choose to do with it is your business.
Yeah, and what's up with that anyway? So we break up, and now you want everything that you ever bought me back? Help me. I struggle with that.
It is people like that. Just like I feel that if a man gives a woman an engagement ring, as long as that woman don't break the engagement, if she breaks the engagement, if she chooses to give it back, fine. If she don't, fine. I don't care if it's a $2 million ring. If you gave it to her, then she has the right to keep it. You don't give people things that you want to take back, like your parents used to tell you. Even when it comes to money or whatever, you don't give anything away that you cannot go without. If I give it to you and we break up tomorrow, oh well.
So that means when you bought me that pretty, diamond necklace or something, Christmas, and we're not doing Christmas, but last Christmas you bought me a pretty diamond necklace, and this year we are at each other's throats. We're hating each other. We're ready to kill each other. You don't get your necklace back because you bought me that as a gift.
But that goes back to BL, what you was just discussing, narcissist. A narcissist wants to control everything. So just because you're not in the relationship with them anymore, they feel like they can control you by give me back what I gave you.
So that means husband and wife together, and he buys her nice rings, $2 million, $1 million, $50,000, whatever much. They're breaking up. He gets to get her, and that here's a key. And I think this was a real story. He ain't finished paying for the rings yet. Was it one of them basketball players that's still owed on the ring he bought some girl or something, whoever it was, and they broke up? And it may not have been a basketball player, but I remember seeing the story. The guy wanted the rings back because he hadn't finished paying for them, so he wanted to take them back, supposedly to give them back to the store and try to get a credit for it so that'd be less for him to pay.
No, and I feel like a lawyer should have said, guess what? It was your choice that you bought these rings on consignment and you didn't pay cash for them. So guess what? As part of the deal, y'all broke up or whatever, you still got to continue to pay for this ring because you gave it to her. You gave it to her as a gift. So whether it worked out or whether it didn't, I don't feel that she should have had to give it back, whether he's finished paying for it or not. I don't understand the laws when it comes to that. Just like if you buy, say you buy, a guy buys you a car, okay, and he's paying the note on it. 3 years down the line, y'all break up or whatever. I think by law, he should, unless you're the one that cheated or destroyed the relationship, it depends on the circumstances.
Right.
Or as long as you don't have any gross neglect towards him or gross abuse towards him, he should be made to pay for that.
And that's actually, and you raised the point. That's the point that I kind of gravitate to. who is the cause of the breakup. If she is the cause of the breakup, then he should not have to incur any of those financial costs.
Correct.
If he's the cause of the breakup, then he needs to eat every one of those costs.
That's right. Because you have her living, or he or she or whoever is accustomed to a certain type of way of living, even if y'all did it together or whatever, and you went and got this car with the intent on you paying for it. If she has no gross neglect or mistreatment towards you, or she didn't cause the breakup, or he didn't cause the breakup, then that other party should end up paying for that. And that's only being fair. Just because you decide you see a cuter woman or another man over here that looks better, you decide to destroy the relationship on bull crap, and you have no merit to do that, and the other party is not guilty, you should pay for that.
Exactly, because the other party, when you think about it, they've taken themselves off the market for you. Yes. They've rerouted their life for you. They, if it's, she might have wanted to go to, I don't know, graduate school or something, but she said, no, I'm going to focus on being your wife. Or he might have wanted to, I don't know, be a basketball player over in London somewhere and said, no, I'm going to stay here and focus on being a husband to you and our child. And so they've made life choices, choices that have impacted their lives long term to be in relationship with you, and you turn around and you don't live up to your end of the agreement, whether it's verbal, whether it's contractual on paper or whatever, you don't live up to your end of the agreement. Why is it then that they must incur financial expense because you did not honor your agreement?
Correct. And I feel that way even when it comes to BL celebrities or whoever. If you marry a woman, okay, she comes from just a regular walk of life or whatever, and you take her on as your wife, there should be no type of thing where if she signs a prenuptial agreement, she only comes with what she came with. I feel like if you're a multimillionaire and you have the finances, give her $1 million or two. So, because I'm sure she put her life on hold to be what you needed her to be, vice versa.
Exactly.
And I feel like you should give her enough financial stability that if it does not work out, she can pursue whatever it was that she would have been pursuing had she not chose to be with you.
Exactly. And that's the part.
That's fair. I feel that is fair, even if it's the man. If you in the financial position where this man gave up his life and his journey to be a home father, or he stopped his career so you could do yours, and he was more, supporting of you, and he put his life on hold, he should be compensated financially.
Exactly.
That's fair, because 10 years into the marriage or 5 years into the marriage, he could have been doing something else. He could have had a bachelor's degree by now, a master's degree by now. He could have been well off financially. Or
here's the deal.
Way.
Even if it's 6 months into the marriage. And you know why I say that? Because oftentimes people don't meet each other and get married tomorrow. So even if you've just been married on paper 6 months, you probably were dating for 2 or 3 years along the way. You were probably making life decisions along the way. And the wedding happened to have come up, I guess, whenever y'all saved up enough money, or you could get the venue together, or whatever the case may have been. So, because I've heard some people say, well, no, they got married in June and it's now September. But they've been together for the last 5 years. You don't negate that whole 5 years of them building together and one or the other doing, making life changes to accommodate the relationship. And just because the wedding was this June and it's now September and they're breaking up, you don't just automatically, they've only been married 3 months.
No, you should count back to when they first
it became serious. When it got serious
to become a couple.
Exactly. So
because we all know, like you said, you meet somebody, you may not marry them for a year or two. It's some people that they date 5, 6, 7 years before they even decide to get married. All of that time counts.
Well, actually, I think, at least when it became supposedly monogamous or exclusive, or at least maybe if they started joining accounts. Exactly. When you take yourself off the market for the other person, that's when the relationship, as far as I'm concerned, that they should start looking at the beginning of, and when, that's just my opinion. I don't know. Maybe we need to change the laws, because the laws are different state by state, and it's, some people are, you've only been married a month, or you've only been married 6 months, but if I'd been laying up with this man, he the only one been getting this coochie for the last 5 years, and just because our church wedding that we finally saved up enough money for lasted 2 months ago, or just happened 2 months ago, that means all this other time that I've been everything to this man doesn't count? Really?
And I feel like when you decide to make a commitment to a partnership and a relationship, I don't care how long it is, before you get married. You could be married for 3 days, but how long were you with this person prior to actually signing the papers? That should count, because like you said, you took yourself off the market to devote yourself full-time 100% to the relationship. You should be compensated for that.
Well, some people, and that, I guess, it remains up in the air. But that's how I feel about it. I'm in agreement with you. Once he takes himself off the market for her, and if she go and mess up, girl, you pay up. You pay for the rings. You pay, if y'all have signed a contract for, to have your wedding ceremony, or a contract for the lease or the car, whatever it is. If you're the major person at fault for all of that, then you incur the bulk of the financial burden.
Right, and if you guys go buy a home together and you're not married, okay, and you want to keep the home, then you give him enough money or her enough money to go get them another home.
To go get someplace else. Don't leave them. Yeah, what's that with the women? Okay, well, you know what, I'm keeping the house and you got to go. Well, that's fine. You can keep the house, but where's he going to go? He don't get to go out on the street. Right. That's where it comes down to have discussion about, okay, how, especially if she's the one that caused the breakup, where's he going to go? He done gave up his place to move in with you, and so he needs money,
and that's why you
down payment for a place.
And that's why you have to sit down when we decide to date again, BL. You have to sit down and have those hard questions. Well, what if 5 years? We don't ever want to do the what if or whatever, but we need to.
Girl, you better ask them questions. And then I'm going to tell you from experience, don't ask them just once or twice. Ask them, and 6 months later, come back and ask it again and see if the answer changed, because I got tricked. We did all them questions, and when shit hit the fan, and go ahead.
It's just like ongoing therapy. It's just like ongoing therapy in a relationship. Every relationship needs a tune-up every now and then.
Right.
So you have to sit down and you have to revisit those hard questions and say, hey, what if it don't work out between us? What are we going to do financially? Are we going to sell the house and split it? Are we going to, you have a car and I have a car, what are we going to do? Or if you're responsible for my car, what do I do? Do you have savings enough to at least pay the payment for 6 months until I can get up on my feet, until I can get, another vehicle, or until I can get another job? Those questions have to be visited, and they have to start out in the beginning so you know what you're getting into. And like you said, 6 months later, you still with them, ask them again. That way, nobody's wasting no unnecessary time. Because at my age, I don't have no time to waste.
Well, yeah.
And we might as well put it out on the table.
Well.
And you have to ask. And if they do have grown children, like you say, once again, how is your relationship with your children? Because we already know, BL, how we feel about our children.
Exactly.
Let me see what kind of relationship you have with your children. Because if it's dysfunctional, that dysfunctional ain't happening here with mine.
Well.
And women got to ask them.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They got to ask those questions.
And check in regularly. And that was something I know. Well, I'll tell you what, that was one of the things I learned from my first marriage that I incorporated into the second marriage. The first marriage, I didn't do those check-ins. And we just, if we had issues, some issues we dealt with and some we didn't. And it was kind of like, it wasn't really swept under the rug, but it was ignored. And we didn't often enough check in to see issues so that we could address them before they became bigger stuff. And so in my waiting period in between, it was, I think, 15 years or so between marriages, because I spent that much time making sure I'd learned what I needed to learn, remembered all the stuff I did wrong, made sure I had a new plan to do stuff different, all that kind of stuff from the first marriage. And so in the second marriage, that was one thing that I very clearly made sure that we did. From the time we became exclusive, it's like, okay, periodically, every few months, are we on the same page? Are we still going this direction? Are we still doing this? So we just keep asking all of those things, because people change. Like we said, life is evolving. And so the other party may get to a point where they're starting to feel or want or desire something different than what you all wanted initially. And they may not know how to say it. And so when you bring it up, at least that opens the door for them to say it, and then you guys can address it. So like you said, they're not wasting time. Now, if they lie about it and tell you y'all still on the same track and they know they're not, then that's a whole different ball game. Then as far as I'm concerned, they need to pay for everything because they wasted your time intentionally, you know?
Correct. You know, and that's with my ex-husband. I said, I'm not paying for a divorce. I said, I'm not your first wife. I'm not your second wife. I'm your third wife, and you cannot get it right. I'm not paying for anything. If you want this divorce, you will pay for it. I'm not asking you for spousal support. I'm good financially. I don't need nothing from you. All I want is you to pay for the divorce, and I have my biological name that my father gave me back. That's all I want. I told the judge that. That's all I want. I said, and you can pay for it. I'm not asking you to pay for anything, because I do appreciate that you came into my life. You helped me raise my children for all those years. You know what I'm saying? That did count for something. Even though you wasn't a great husband, you was a wonderful provider to me and my children. And I couldn't have otherwise done some of the things that I was doing, for as working and going to school, without you. You were a great help. You know, when it came to that, I don't want anything from you financially. I just want you to pay for this divorce. Let me go on with my life. We're gonna do it on irreconcilable differences. You know what I'm saying? Even though it was infidelity, we ain't gonna throw you under the bus. We're gonna say, you know, irreconcilable differences, and we're gonna go on. And that's exactly what we did. I said, but if you think I'm paying a penny, brother, I'm not. You destroyed this marriage, not me. I was faithful to the end. I don't have time for that. And it worked itself out. And I say once again, mothers, embrace your daughters. Let your daughter's light shine. And if you can help your daughters to be maybe what you thought you should have been or what you wanted to be, help them. They need that. Fathers, be there for your sons. And it ain't about money. It's about time. There's no amount of money that can elect the time that you can give your children. Be there. Let them know that you're there without a doubt. Anytime they might be there. It ain't got nothing to do with things. The most important things in life are not things.
It's time.
Things come and go.
It's memory. It's relationship.
When you sign up for it, you signed up for a lifelong relationship with your children, despite how you feel about the baby's mother or the ex-wife or even the in-laws. Be there for what that seed that you brought into this world. Reach out. Be there. Find them. You'll be surprised of maybe they've been poisoned by the mother or the father. You would be surprised. Go to that child directly and ask them how you feel. And regardless of the pain in your past or whatever, it can be healed. If you just honest and you open, apologize to your children for maybe not being what they thought you should have been.
Wow.
Because we all need healed. We all have flaws. We all, like I tell my children, I'm not going to get a Mother of the Year award, not today, not tomorrow, no other day. But what I gave you is what I had. If you didn't have it, I didn't have it to give.
Right.
But one thing I do have that don't cost nothing, and that's love. And love overrides virtually everything. And as long as you got love, you can have healing.
Wow. What a way to end it. What a way to end it.
And it's been
Powerful.
great, BL, as always. My therapy from Scurv University.
Yeah. Scurv University. Or Scurv Nation.
Yes. And it's a cheap, look, the tuition is cheap.
Okay. It ain't like some of these other channels where you actually have to pay $59 a month, $49 a month for membership. And I've had actually a couple of people that I've talked with are cautious about calling in and telling their stories themselves. And that's how I'm able to share some of the stuff I share, because I have their permission to share it without actually giving who they are.
Right.
But they're cautious because they don't want to be judged. You've got the trolls that come in, and before you know it, instead of saying, well, do it this way, or try this, or I experienced this and it didn't work for me, the first thing that, oh, she's a hoe. She should have known when she was sleeping with that married man. Oh, he's this. Oh, you're just a stupid bitch. You know what? You should have known. You shouldn't have done this. Or they're just dogging the person out. Well, you know what? They're here. We can't go back and undo anything that they've done. They're reaching out for help. They're sharing their story.
And the point remains, we've all done stupid things in our life. We've all done things we're ashamed of in our life. But a person can't be healed when they feel like they can't be heard.
Exactly.
They shouldn't be judged. That's a part of their past, and they're seeking help to better their future, and nobody should be judged on that. And the ones who are not saying nothing, they probably got worse past than that. But to help the platform financially, Lance can buy more equipment. He can be in more places. Like they said, they're going to be in more places. Being able to be out there in the opening, it's all going back to building up the site and building up the followers and building up different people to come on, guest speakers that can help a lot of other people.
Because, we finna start going real more out in the trenches, getting the people out where they are and bringing it home, because there's so many people out there that the stories have got to be told. And I don't know which story it's going to be to catapult somebody to make a change, but I feel like the more we tell the stories, or the more we allow an avenue for people to tell their stories, the more people are reached. Because somebody might not like my voice. They might not like the way I bat my eyes. They might not like my hair. But when you come on and you have a very similar story, they might like your eyes. They might like your hair or your shirt or something that clicks with you that didn't click with me. And if it means that that's how they get their step toward their healing through you, then that's fine, as long as they get it. So that's, one of the things we've been talking about is being more on the grounds, if you will, kind of like, and I think someone said like a news, we go out and interviewing people more outside instead of inside, if you will. And
right,
so,
and I was telling Lance, when we was on the last podcast, remember I was like, we can have Melanated News Network. They got CNN. We can have any. Yeah, remember when we was on the podcast? But you was you had the wrench. You was making sure the trolls stayed off.
Oh yeah, he got me as the general, the police. Ha!
He got you as the moderator. So you was kind of busy multitasking at the time. But I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And then when people feel like BL that they're not alone, someone else has their story. Someone else experienced that. Because like you say, we all have a story. But with love, people can be healed. And we don't judge on here. Like I tell people, we can all have differences of opinion, but we can keep it respectable. We're all grown-ups. We don't have to be negative because this person feels a different way, or this person may not know as much as you, or maybe they don't have the right words to say in their text or whatever. Regardless, they still have a voice, and they need to be healed. We all have flaws. We all have shortcomings. We all are a work in progress until the day the Creator closes our eyes. We can all learn something from the younger generation, the older generation, children, babies. We can learn. I learn something all the time from lots of people. And I'm not too proud to say, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't think about that. You made a good point. Let me reevaluate. Let me think about it. Somebody else said it, but let me think about it the way she said that. Let me point that out. Because we all have growth. As long as you live, you're growing and you're changing.
Exactly.
And you're evolving. And we can learn something from even the most minute things people say. There's always a message. And there's always a message in our mess.
Always. Well, girl, it's been real. I sure appreciate you. It's time for me to do my motherly chauffeur duties.
Okay.
We went. I don't know if I told you, we went. I took my one daughter to go purchase a vehicle. the other day.
Oh, wow.
And, well, they wouldn't give her the vehicle. It was a little used vehicle, wasn't much. It was very cheap used vehicle. She mixed the money to pay for it, and she's got credit. I've been building their credit from the time they were in middle school. So, I had them authorized on my cards, got their accounts, all that other good stuff. So she's got, 740 something right at 750 credit.
Wow,
At
that's
19.
great.
That's both of them actually at 19. And but the dealership decided they weren't going to send her application to the bank because they felt she needed a cosigner. And I said, well, the way we calculated at 10% interest, which is pretty high, but that would be the max. The estimate really interest would be about 6, 7, 8%. But we calculated a 10% interest for this little small amount that she's financing. Her payments would be about $240 something. Now, her income is, I'm not gonna say her income online. Well, actually, I can cut this off. So, yeah, I mean, her income is well enough to pay for it, and her budget between car and insurance and gas is like right at 600. So she's like between the car,
Wow.
the insurance, and the gas for the month, 600, and that still leaves her a whole nother paycheck in the month of right about that same amount to do her hair, nails, makeup, whatever it is she wants to do. And they decided that they weren't going to process it because they said she doesn't make enough money. And I said, well, she's a student, first of all, and she's working, and this is a used car, et cetera, et cetera. They said, well, she needs a cosigner.
That's
So what I
ridiculous.
saw that to mean, because her name ain't Becky, her name's Shanae. So, and I told them very clearly, I said, because her name is not Becky, you telling her this. And what you want to happen is Shanae's mama, Shaniqua, to turn around and sign herself away into debt for this little $10,000 car. And how does Shanae get an opportunity in life?
If
Because
nobody gives her a chance.
if you won't give her a chance. So I kindly let them know, and this is a vehicle she had decided what model vehicle she wanted and all. So we went looking for this. It was a used one, of course, it wasn't brand new. She didn't just go on any car lot and just pick something. She had done her research, what she wanted. We rented a few, let her, just kind of test them and see how, and she decided what she wanted. So we put a search out in the 250-mile radius of where we are, who had one and that met those needs, and then we kind of narrowed it down based on mileage, based on color, based on price, all that kind of stuff. And so this was one of the dealerships that we went to, and I'd already knew what her credit was like because I told you I'd been working on that from the time they were middle school. I started preparing them to be able to do what they wanted to do, because I said when they leave home, they're going into something. If it's a condo, a townhouse, something, they're not going into rental. So I wanted them to be prepared for that. And these people told her, and she was so disappointed. But they pretty much said your income of her actual work income, and she has additional income, but her work income is right about $14,000 a year. But again, she's a student, and your little $14,000 a year is not enough to pay a little $250 car note.
Well, one thing, that's
you want
ridiculous.
mama to turn around and sign her name on as well so you can try to leverage mama's stuff? No, what y'all were trying to do was get into mama's business to see what was what, and then turn around and say, oh, well, we don't see, because once you see mama's credit, and if mama's credit is matching, then all of us are pretty much legit with our credit and how we handle bills. So then you're going to come back and say, no, you don't necessarily need the cosigner. Or you will try to leverage my stuff against hers, assuming because her name ain't Becky that she ain't gonna pay for it.
My daughter had that same similar experience, BL, from this car dealer in Richardson, Texas, called Reliable Chevrolet. She went there to get a used vehicle. She had the down payment, a couple of $1,000, her own money, had a job, and everything. She gets this 2018 Dodge Journey, nice car. They said she needed a cosigner. Excuse me, because she didn't have credit, not because she had bad credit. She just always had paid cash for her cars. That's just how she's been. So I co-signed for her. My credit's good. They said my credit was 705. That's pretty good. But, I haven't had anything on credit or anything, and I don't make any deals. I haven't made any over the years. And so I gave them all my bank information, all my information on my income, everything. She had the car 30 days. In the 30-day time period, she went from one job to another job because the other job paid more.
Mm-hmm.
And it was through a temporary service in Texas. But it's temp to perm after 60 days or something. Do you know they asked for the car back? Because they said, why would you quit a permanent job for a temporary job? She said, I quit the job because I made more money on the permanent job and it's temp to hire. But even without my job, I have a permanent income because she gets the income for children, about $1,500, $1,600 a month. She has income for children, plus I use my income as well. They said, well, you shouldn't have quit your job. And they asked her for the car back. She said, you know what, Mama? They wanted to take the car back on the day the payment was due, so they wouldn't have to give me my $2,000 down payment back, and I wouldn't have to make a car payment. She said, no, I took it to them 2 days ahead of time and got my down payment back and didn't pay them a car payment. She said they were trying to be slick in doing that.
Wow.
Well, yeah, that's what happened to my baby with her vehicle. She's
And you know,
a
that
little
is
disappointed.
ridiculous. You know, my daughter said the same thing, BL. She told him, and she's really kind of boisterous, you know. And I told him, I called the car line, and I said, you know what? My car was paid off by Citibank. I don't owe nothing. I said, even when my last car got totaled, it was paid off. I said, and y'all took my credit score. I co-signed for her, even with my income and my savings and everything. She had enough income. I said, but you guys let her drive the car 30 days. I said, then you guys wanted to try to get a car payment out of her, plus you didn't want to give her $2,000 down payment back. So they gave her money back. She went and found her a minivan and paid cash for it. Ridiculous.
Well,
and like she told us, she said, if I was white, you would have gave it to me. And she said those exact words.
That's just what I told them. I said, if her name was Becky, you wouldn't be asking for no cosigner for no daggone $10,000 car. And no, you see, she working 4 or 5 days a week, and she's a student, and she getting good grades, and and plus she's got 7-something credit. Who starts out life with that? The fact that she's starting out life with all of that, and y'all take
BL. I didn't start out at 20 years old or 18 years old with that type of credit score myself. I told you I never bought a brand new car till I was 42. No, you prejudiced. And this girl lives at home. So you know if she lives at home and she goes to school and she works, she don't have that many expenses.
She ain't got no expense. She ain't got no matter of fact, I have her authorized on my credit cards, and she has no credit card of her own. She's authorized on all of mine. So she has no legal responsibility financially except to pay for her car and her hair and her nails and, McDonald's or, whatever. That's it. She has no legal financial responsibility.
Right, and the fact that she lives at home, and she doesn't have a mortgage payment or utility payments, and all she has is her, like you said, her car insurance, her gas, and the car payment.
Oh, her cell phone. Her cell phone.
Oh, her cell phone bill. And she works full time, plus she's a student. So you know, when you're a student, you get funds back from Pell Grants and loans or whatever. Why wouldn't you give her the car? If nobody gives her a chance, how the hell is she going to establish any credit if nobody gives her a chance?
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Yep. And then wanted to try to charge her now the numbers they were.
That's just how the world works. You know, BL, even with jobs or with anything when you're black. You say, oh, well, you got a college degree, you don't have work experience. How am I going to get experience if nobody gives me a chance?
Exactly. And
somebody open the damn door for them. They need to open the door for her. You just might have to go to another dealer. Well, are you going to go to another dealer?
We're going to have to find she wants a particular vehicle, and I understand why she wants it. I understand the rationale, so I'm trying to work with her on that. So we're going to have to find another, dealer that has the vehicle that she wants in the price range that we're going to stay in, because, she's very adamant. We set a budget for the max that we will go. We got the range that we want to stay in and the absolute max that we will go for the vehicle. So it's,
well, you know what,
a matter of looking.
At 18 years old, honey, at 18 years old, I couldn't even afford a $10,000 car. So tell your daughter, big ups to her, and tell her if nobody else told her, I'm very proud of her. Because at 18 or 19, I couldn't even afford a $10,000 vehicle. Wasn't even thinking in that price range. So even with her thinking in that price range, and you've taught them very, very valuable, financial information, that's a beautiful thing. So tell her somebody's going to give it to her, honey, because we sending it up to the Creator. She's going to get that car.
At a reasonable interest rate.
Person. At a reasonable interest rate. She's going to be blessed with that because she's maintaining good grades, working full-time, a full-time student. Honey, no, the God that we serve that's up there, he's going to make it happen for her. He's going to make it happen. Maybe that dealer miss out and tell her when she do get that vehicle, tell her make sure she go by that dealership like I had to do. I had a similar experience. Tell her make sure she go by that dealer and let them know that she got it. Because, BL, when I got my Saturn, about a 2007 Saturn in 2006, I went to one dealership out here where I live at in Blue Springs. And so me and my husband walked in. They act like they didn't want to wait on us. They trying to show me used cars or whatever. My husband's like, no, I don't want that. She don't want that. So I had got another vehicle from J. Wolf Honda, a van, some years back. I paid it off. So I had to go to Tiffany Springs to Honda, so Tiffany Springs dealer, and get my Saturn. But the guy told me, he said, get online, pick out the car you want, put everything in there that you want, and I guarantee you give me a week, that car will be delivered the way that you want it. Picked out the car, told him everything I wanted the grill change, wanted the tires changed, wanted the clear coat put on there, the heated seats, the heated mirror, electric, remote start, all of this. When I went to pick up my car, it was exactly the way that I wanted. I immediately got in that car when I picked it up, went back out there to Blue Springs and told them, y'all missed your permission because guess what? Because we were black, y'all assume our credit wasn't good. You assume we didn't have any money, and I didn't have to put down a dime. And my interest rate.
And that's the other thing. They wanted her to put down $1,000 to $1,500. They wanted to charge her 10% interest, and they'll still turn around and wanted a co-signer. I was like, who the hell you think you're talking to? You think I'm that damn dumb?
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
If she put down
$10,000 vehicle.
If she put down $1,000, she shouldn't have needed a co-signer. They did my daughter, I told you. She put down $2,000. And they said the only reason she needed a co-signer, because she's 35, because she's never established any type of credit, BL. Everything she has, she pays for cash, always. I tried to tell her to get a credit card or whatever. She didn't. I said, okay, I'll do this. He said, so in a year, I'll take your mom's name off because, you'll have the credit built up. But then again, you guys want to get mad at her because she changed jobs to another job working for CVS customer service where she was making $3 more per hour. Now, how can you get mad because she changed the job making 11 to making 14? That's crazy. They got to her. Oh, well, because it's not permanent, it's through a temporary service. But your other job was permanent.
Yeah, but she's bringing an extra $100 and something a week.
That's what she tried to explain to him. I told her, give him back that damn car. She had money saved already. She took about $4,000 and went and bought her a van, paid for cash, and called it a day.
The only thing is we don't have $10,000 to buy her this car.
But I also told her, BL, to get a credit card and to establish some credit as well.
Yeah, and that may be what we do. Is just get her a little $300, $500 prepaid credit card just to lock it in, just so she has one in her own name instead of being authorized on all of our, mine and his stuff or whatever. And
and that's what I told my daughter. I said, go to Kohl's. I said, you can go to Kohl's. They pretty good about giving you a credit card at JCPenney's. I said, or even get on Capital One or somewhere and get you a prepaid card where you got to put down $300 or whatever, and you basically paying yourself. I said, you have to establish some kind of credit so you don't have this problem. I said, because you are 35 years old, and you do need to have credit because your kids are getting older. My grandson is going to be in college next year. My other granddaughter, be in college 2 years after that. I said, well, they might need you.
Yeah, she needs to have a card. She needs and build up now so she can have a good, $5,000-$10,000 available credit. So when they get to school, anything can go wrong, and you're gonna need to have that money available just in case, just and not wishing anything go wrong. But shoot, in college, anything can go wrong, and she might need to make them authorized so that they can, cover any emergency situation that that happens. So. Yeah.
And I told her, I said, and even with my grandson ready to be 18, I said, you can always give him a prepaid card and say, okay, well, I'm going to put $1,000 in this prepaid account. That way, if you do need something, it's there and it's available for you. And then he'll learn money management and learn, okay, well, I'm gonna spend $300, but my payment's going to be $25 a month. Let me make sure I pay it before the 21-day grace period so I don't incur those, interest charges.
Exactly.
And, you pay it down. You don't charge what you can't pay, like I was explaining to my daughter. Just because you got $1,000 credit limit, that don't mean go max it out. You charge what you can pay for cash. If you spend $150, before that 21-day grace period, you ought to have that $150 to pay it off. If you can't afford to pay it off, do not charge it.
Exactly. We just went through that. My other daughter bought a computer. My other daughter bought a computer, and she'd gone on Dell on the website and kind of spec'd out the computer she wanted, et cetera, and she had the money to pay for it. Just going to, have it just paid straight out. And at the checkout process, because she was getting the student discount, she checked student discount or whatever to get the extra percentage off. And then It popped up and said, do you want to do our credit? We do credit, whatever. And so we looked at it and said, well, you know what, let's just try it and see. At least, they'll put something at least in your name. And they approved her for 3 times the amount of what the computer was, the laptop was. And so we were like, well, okay, we'll do that, because what that does now is that gives her her own account, not one associated with me, but her very own account. And we'll keep it for 2 or 3 months just to show the account was open. And she's got the money still sitting in her bank to pay for it, because that's what she was going to do from the beginning, and just divide it over 2 or 3 month payments. And then, so boom, you've got an account that you bought something on and you paid it out, and then let it sit there and let it build. So when she gets ready to buy her car, we won't go through this. And we just did this just the other day. After this happened to the one child, the other child, she bought her computer that way. So, but this is ridiculous. It don't make no sense, because I did teach my kids cash and carry as much as possible. So we use debit cards for everything. We swipe the debit card and pay for it. Pretty much is basically the same as cash. So we're not charging a lot of stuff.
But BL, that's what I did, and that's the mistake I made. And I was just telling my daughter, I said, my credit remained good. I said, but I need to get a couple of credit cards because, since my divorce and everything I had was paid for. You know what I'm saying? I bought another TV a couple of years ago, which I don't even watch it, about a couple of years ago, and I very seldom even turn it on. I had to turn it on the other day and wipe the dust off of it just to see if it still worked. But at the end of the day, I said I need to practice what I preach as well, because I need to go get me a prepaid card or something to establish some more credit, because, once we got divorced, he paid all the bills off and everything. He did. I can commend him for that. Any debt that we had, which was not a lot, he took care of all that as part of the divorce, because I didn't ask for, spousal support or anything. So I said, you know what, I need to do that same thing so that I can keep my credit good. Because, I'm a student in college as well. I took off, these last 2 semesters, because my daughter with the baby, and he was premature and she had some things going on to really be there for her. So I've got 5 classes and then I'll finish my bachelor's. So I'm going to try to go back. I'm going to go back in the summer or the fall. But either way, I would get student discounts as well through Dell and stuff like that. And my computer that I bought about 6 years ago, I told you, it just blinked out on me. I don't have a warranty or nothing on it. I'm like, you know what, it's trash. I'm just going to get me a new one. And I probably will go through the same process as her as a student and get the Dell computer. But that's a dang shame that your daughter's trying to get a car for $10,000. She's got savings, got the income. She's got income from going to school. And you guys want to give her a chance.
Yep. And they'll give her a chance if we put down a lot of money, if we go with a high interest rate, and if I co-sign or somebody else co-sign. It wasn't just me. It was anybody, but they want to co-sign them.
Well, I know you don't want her credit, her credit report ran over and over, but you might have to sit down and just find another dealer because she's adamant about a particular kind of car, which I understand because I know how I feel. I wanted a certain car. I was stuck on it. I didn't want nothing else. I understand how she feels. So if she's adamant about that car, she's just going to have to do some research and see who has that car with the options that she has. She has a $10,000 budget. Somebody's going to do it for her, BL. The next time I hear from you, you're going to tell me that the deal is done.
Okay. We're speaking that. I'm going to put that in the atmosphere.
Honey, we're going to put that in the atmosphere.
Hear my other daughter hollering, put it out there that she wants a charger. A challenge.
You know what? If I didn't have my grandkids, once I get out on my own, I think I'm going to give me a Charger or a Challenger. I'm going to be a grandma driving me a good, nice car. Because I've always wanted one, but I've had kids, and I said, well, that's kind of a sports car. I said, but you know what? I love a Charger and a Challenger. I'm with your daughter. Love them.
Well, I think that it's cute. I think she's too. I think she's 19, and she's got a heavy foot, and she's definitely one of those people. She's like me in a lot of ways. And if the speedometer says 150 or 180 or 220, at some point she's gonna take. Yeah, in the country.
Well, my older son is like that. If the speedometer say 120, he gonna see if it really can do that.
So, and that's what concerns me because that's a lot of power for her to have. Being so young and being a black female and the way the police be doing all kinds of craziness and other crazy drivers, that's what scares me.
Well, you have to tell her that driving is not a guarantee, it's a privilege. If you get tickets, like you get a ticket and say the speed is 60 and you're going 95 or 100, then you're going to have to file an SR-22. You're going to have to, they may take it, and you will only have a license where you can go to work and come back home. Tell her she don't want to start a cycle because she can take it from my son. My son had so many tickets at one time, BL, 15 tickets. My younger son, because he had that heavy foot, till it cost him over $9,000. He's still paying a lawyer to this day. To this day. I think he had to get, what he had to do, he had to get an SR-22. Remember we was telling you where you have to get insurance even with your
Right, that's the way it is here.
Yeah. Okay, he had to go to classes. He got a license. Well, all he could do is go to work and come home from speeding. And then when they did take his license, driving with no license, he had that. Driving with no insurance because he let his insurance lapse one time. That was a $300 ticket. I know my son is paid, and this is the truth, over $9,000 to a lawyer, and he still owes a lawyer right now about $1,500 of that he's been paying for months.
Wow.
Said he will ever do it again because I told him, honey, I'm not paying the WS's my money like that. I'm not going to do it.
But that's a trap, though. They have that stuff set up that way.
What I don't understand, BL, how could you have 15 tickets? 15 tickets?
Well, he ain't paying attention. He on the road just riding. He on the road just riding and just showcasing with his friends and who knows whatever else.
And where you live at, like I told him, if he lived where you live at, I said, baby, you will be behind bars.
He'd have been in jail. Yep.
I told him that. Because, baby, one thing I know about Texas, like I tell people, Texas do not play with you.
Especially if your name ain't Becky or Tommy.
My grandson had an incident, BL, in a Texas school where this WS girl called him a BAN. Yes. And so him and her got into a little struggle. He popped her in the back of the neck for calling him a BA nigger. Okay. Do you know they gave my grandson 90 days in jail?
Wow.
And he was 17?
And what they do for so that started his life right there at 17.
They treated him as an adult. They put him in jail with grown killer, murderer, pedophile people. My daughter had to come up off of all kind of money to get him out of that and get his record expunged. And this girl said it to him 2 or 3 times, and people heard her say this to him. And they didn't get her for no racial remarks or nothing.
See, and that's just another example of how the victim is the one that's blamed and is ostracized and is basically told, you suck up the mistreatment that we give you, and if you dare respond back, then we're going to do you even more. We're going to hurt you even more if you respond to mistreatment, you know?
Yes, and he was in jail for 90 days. He got fined and a lot of other shit. And then they made him go to alternative school for 3 months before he could go back to the school, and he graduates next year. And they didn't give a dang. And they put him in a grown folk jail. And although she pushed him first, and he pushed her in the back of the neck, she said her neck was hurt. So charged. Even though she hit him first, pushed him first, and said the racial remark to him.
Wow.
So like
that's a whole other discussion of how the criminal justice system or the police or whatever you want to call, they're just so unfair as well. Because as far as I'm concerned, that being the case, most of them should have took the ride.
Yeah.
You don't just arbitrarily select one.
And then the killer part, BL, my grandson's never been in trouble, never had a record, never had none of that. Never had none of that. And I felt like what y'all should have did was sit them both down and told her, look, it was an incident. It ain't going to happen no more. Y'all can both be suspended for 10 days or whatever, the case may be. You can't say these racial epithets towards him, period.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have pushed him. Even though he's a boy and you're a girl, keep your damn hands to yourself. I'm going to suspend you both for 10 days and it's a done deal. No, stay at work and charge the ball. So, and my daughter had to get the lawyer come out of all kind of money to get that expunged off his record when they looked into it and seen what exactly happened.
It's almost like they're vultures sitting there waiting on us to do anything remotely possibly chargeable or arrestable so that they can use that to milk us for everything they can or enslave us.
Yeah, it's a money game. Just like they're fighting. I seen it on something. I forgot what it was. Where they're trying to fight, and I think it was starting in Atlanta, if I make no mistake. Or New York. They're trying to fight the system in regard to bail because they feel like you want to put these guys in jail. Have they bailed these impoverished people? They bail so damn high to where they sitting in jail 4, 5, 6 months before they even get a trial or even get a court date, knowing their parents can come up with $5,000 worth of bail. And then they in jail, and think about this, they're in jail, then you got homosexuals, pedophiles, and everything else. Then these people got to fight for their life while they're in jail and get additional charges. And you just keep them locked into the system.
Mm-hmm.
But let Dick or Bob or Tommy go to jail. They're going to get bail. It's ridiculous.
They get let out on their own recognizance, ROR.
Yeah. Might get a signature bond. Because he's never done anything before. But he done this heinous crime, but since he don't have a pass or anything, he gets out. But this little boy gets caught with a gram of marijuana or a blunt or something. He's got to sit in there 30 days because his parents can't make the $1,500 bail. Ridiculous. It's a vicious cycle. Then while he's in jail, he's got to fight off these big bad wolves that he's never been exposed to and never been around. He's got to fight to survive. So he's racking up additional charges while he's in there just trying to survive.
And
but that's another
thing
topic,
they're not realizing they're not realizing how these plots or these traps have been set up in every direction from every which way to entrap us and to keep us enslaved, whether it's enslaved in debt, whether it's enslaved in a jail, whether it's enslaved on these jobs, well, however it is to keep us enslaved to the medicine, to the pharmaceutical and medical industry. Really, and we're not getting it. That's why we've got to start loving each other so we can start talking to each other, sharing these experiences, seeing how one person got caught in the trap so that we don't get caught in the trap, you know?
Correct. Yeah, we're going to have many more discussions about, especially this inhumane justice system. Because think about it. The average little boy ain't never been in trouble. Say he got in trouble. He got a little weed or whatever. He caught in the car with his friends or whatever. Just some minor infraction. The mental and emotional stress that this little boy has to face just being there. We ain't even talking about the financial part. We talking about the PTSD, the trauma, the traumatic emotional problems that this child has to experience. And then think about it. He's a boy, right? He get out. He could have been violated in there, whatever. He gets out, say, within 30 days or whatever. They throw it out. You don't know what he's went through in them 30 days.
Exactly.
Hell, you don't know what he went through in 4 hours. And then he gets out, and he feels like, I can't tell nobody because they might think I'm gay. I can't tell nobody because they think I'm weak. I can't tell nobody. So he's walking around with anger and hostility and hatred because somebody did this to him, and he couldn't do nothing about it. And Mom and Daddy weren't there to protect him.
And I remember that boy up in New York. I can't call his name. The boy committed suicide.
Khalif Browder, the one that Jay-Z did the documentary on. I remember that. I watched that BL and I cried like a baby, like it was my own child. I cried. Even though this boy didn't deserve that, even though he got out, he was doing okay, he was never okay.
Right. And that's the part we got to realize.
Right. They never okay. Because I had my older son to go to jail, and we sit and we talk. And I know to this day, BL, and he went on his own retirement from being bad and doing stuff he didn't have no business. But I know to this day, looking at him, and you know we know our children, that it's a part of him, that's broken, that can't nobody fix it but the Creator. Yeah, we talk, and I love on him, and I care about him, but I know, because I've heard him say it. He didn't know I heard him say it. Because him and my younger son, they just like tit and tat, freaking frack. You know, they've been buddies and best friends all their life. Because, you know, I had the 3 girls and the 2 boys, they always been close. I heard him say one day that, you know, it's stuff that I can't tell Mama, that I can only tell my brother, that I only share with my brother, and I kind of overheard it. And I had to tell him one day, I said, let me tell you something. I know it's things that it's only between you and the Creator. I said, and I don't even want to imagine what you had to go through. But he told me out of his own mouth, I will never wish that on nobody. I will never go back to jail. And that's been years ago when he experienced this, many years ago. He said, but I would never experience that. I would never wish that on nobody. And he was telling my younger son, man, that's why I always try to keep you straight and tell you, no, you can't go with me or nothing because you don't want to go there. He said, you don't ever want to go there. And people don't realize, even when these men get out, they need help. They need love. They need some therapy. And they need people to understand you're not in this alone. And families got to stand up and stick with them. Now, I know there's some in there, BL, that need to be in there.
They need to be in there. You're right.
It's some heinous people that need to be in there. They don't need to ever walk the streets again. But there's also some in there where when they do get out and they do get back out here so they don't face recidivism and none of that, they need that help. And they need that unconditional love from people who say they love them.
And that's why we need our own businesses so that we can employ these guys at a reasonable rate, at a rate that they can afford to at least pay rent and a car note and, you know, some lights and some groceries.
Yeah, so they don't go back
a lot of
to what they know.
The employers are not giving them jobs that, you know, they can actually earn a basic living. Well, most of the employers not giving that to folk with a clean background too. But definitely these guys that got those strikes against them, they got to live at home. or they got to live, with a roommate or somebody because they can't get a job that's gainful employment, if you will, that may have some benefits where they can go to the doctor when they need to. So what they wind up doing, having their own little businesses on the street corner.
And that's another way to lock them back up again. Then you say, oh, well, why is your rate for recidivism so high? Well, yeah, when they get out here and you don't have nothing to offer them, it's going to be survival of the fittest. They got to do what they have to do.
But how they got there in the first place? Because you didn't have a job for them to go to.
Right, and everybody out here on the corner ain't a thug. Everybody out here on the corner ain't a gangbanger or none of that. Some of them, hell, it's merely trying to survive. And if you don't open the door and give them a chance, what are they to do? Damn near all the businesses in America were started out for what? Stealing, drug money, whatever. Even with these WSs. Oh, y'all didn't start y'all stuff right, but you gave your kids a chance. Give ours a chance.
Well, they ain't going to give ours a chance. We're going to have to do that ourselves.
Yes, we have to make jobs for
it ourselves.